Chapter 1624. This man had a fierce temperament. His thick eyebrows were slightly raised, and his face was resolute. Beside him was a man in a dark red robe. The hood of the robe covered half of his head, but it couldn't hide his outstanding and heroic appearance. His face was angular and well-defined. This man was surrounded by a murderous aura. His dark and deep eyes were sharp and deep, giving people a sense of oppression. When these two men appeared in the void, the entire void seemed to be frozen. An invisible and vast aura descended, making people tremble in their hearts. At the same time, the Thunder Centipede and the Divine Light Centipede rushed out. When someone broke in, they immediately attacked, bursting with lightning that pierced through the void. Puppets! The man in the green robe raised his eyes. There was not much fluctuation in his eyes, and he directly slapped out with his claws. At the same time, the man in the dark red robe punched out. His attack was clean and neat. Clang, clang. Such a collision caused sparks to fly in all directions. Bright talisman patterns flashed. The two men's fists and claws respectively landed on the Thunder Centipede and the Divine Light Centipede. The void was shattered, and endless bright runes burst out, and lightning raged. Crack, crack. But in an instant, the Divine Light Centipede and the Thunder Centipede cracked at the same time and turned into fragments in an instant. They were destroyed into nothingness. At this moment, Du Xiaofu, who was on the rock, suddenly opened his eyes. Golden light surged in his eyes. His figure swept out and stepped into the void. His black hair was scattered, and he looked at the two men with a domineering and intimidating look. "I think you are Du Xiaofu, known as the Demon King, the Nirvana Realm Grand Supreme?" The young man in the green robe looked at Du Xiaofu and seemed to have sensed something. A terrifying aura surged from his body, as if a divine king had descended, sharp and fierce. "You destroyed my puppets. Tell me your names." Du Xiaofu said, golden light overflowing from his body. He could also feel the strength of the two people in front of him. It seemed that they were not inferior to the successor of the Great Snow Mountain, Lian Qingyan. Moreover, there were two of them at the same time. This made Du Xiaofu's heart slightly tense. "Mo Tianhao, I heard that the true dragon's horn of dragons is in your hands. The true dragon's horn is of some use to me. Give it to me and I will return it in 3 years." The green-robed man said to Du Xiaofu. The crimson-robed man stared at Du Xiaofu. His body emitted a crimson murderous aura that caused people to feel a chill. His voice was also cold as he said, "Heavenly Evil Yelu Han, I heard that you are a grand supreme nirvana. I want to fight you and seek enlightenment." Du Xiaofu looked at the two people. Their names were unfamiliar and had nothing to do with the 9 great clans. However, their auras were tyrannical and vigorous. Perhaps they were like Lian Qingyan. They were terrifying existences who had lived for thousands of years. They had deliberately not broken through in order to enter the divine domain for the last time to find the greatest opportunity. Of these two people, one was clearly looking for trouble and the other wanted to borrow the true dragon's horn. To Du Xiaofu, this was naturally impossible. If you want to borrow the true dragon's horn, you have to take out a treasure of the same level as it. "I can lend it to you," Du Xiaofu said, his entire body emitting a golden purple light. "It seems like he won't easily lend it to you. Let me fight him first. I am looking forward to the nirvana of a grand supreme nirvana." Heavenly Evil Yelu Han said, staring at Du Xiaofu. His murderous aura surged and his eyes were filled with battle intent. "You have to pay the price for destroying my puppets." Du Xiaofu's eyes were frightening. He shook his arm and his fist emitted a golden light. With the roar of dragons and elephants, his fist punched towards Heavenly Evil Yelu Han. This battle was unavoidable. Du Xiaofu might as well make the first move. He had the advantage by striking first. This fist was not simple. It contained the Tao of tyrannical fists. Yelu Han was stunned. He didn't think that the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, would dare to make the first move. That fist contained an incomparably tyrannical force. Yelu Han didn't dare to be careless. He struck out with his palm. In an instant, a murderous aura swept out, carrying with it the faint sound of ghosts crying and gods howling. A vast force surged and collided with Du Xiaofu's fist. Bang! With a dull sound, the void exploded. It was as if it wanted to overturn the dome of heaven. Multicolored light bloomed like fireworks. Dang dang! The two of them retreated in the void at the same time. The void beneath their feet shattered. Their eyes were filled with shock. What a strong body! Heavenly evil Yelu Han waved his hand. He felt his palm go numb. What a strong murderous aura! Du Xiaofu's eyes widened. The murderous aura on his opponent's body was terrifyingly dense. It was as different as heaven and earth compared to the blood evil vine's murderous aura. That kind of murderous aura was actually able to invade Du Xiaofu's body. It was terrifying. An ordinary sealed domain realm cultivator would have been killed by that murderous aura. It was extremely powerful. I need the true dragon's horn. Let me do it. As soon as Emo Tianzhao's voice fell, he pounced towards Du Xiaofu. In an instant, a divine azure light bloomed. A claw mark tore through the void and extended towards Du Xiaofu. Come at me together? This emperor will accompany you. Du Xiaofu shouted. With a thought, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Silver gold arcs of lightning exploded. Just as the claw mark tore through the void and extended towards Du Xiaofu, a dazzling golden light spread in front of Du Xiaofu like a blazing sun. Suddenly, a human-sized, translucent, silver-gold ape appeared. Roar! This was Du Xiaofu's scarlet bone horse monkey Yuanshan body. His innate spiritual eyes overlooked everything in the world. Du Xiaofu suddenly punched out, landing directly on the former's claw mark. Chi-la-la! The arcs of lightning dissipated and the void sank. The scarlet bone horse monkey was forced back. Emo Tianzhao's figure also streaked across the void, his eyes filled with shock. This is the scarlet bone horse monkey's vain soul transformation true spirit? Emo Tianzhao was stunned. He looked at Du Xiaofu's Yuanshan body in shock. Suddenly, his pupils shrank and he exclaimed in shock, "It's not the scarlet bone horse monkey. It's condensed from the Yuanshan body and fused with the spiritual thunder soul seed."
What?
The scarlet bone horse monkey roared. Arcs of lightning wrapped around it. Its aura was majestic and desolate. It could not be provoked. After stabilizing its body, it immediately pounced forward and took the initiative to attack. Its fist was wrapped in a hazy radiance as if it was the beginning of the world. You have some skills and means, but it's not enough. Emo Tianzhao recovered from his shock. His aura rose sharply, and in an instant, his pressure was imposing as he resisted the scarlet bone horse monkey. Fight! The scarlet bone horse monkey shouted. It was like a terrifying lord had come into being, bringing an incomparable pressure. Silver gold arcs of lightning wrapped around it, and it immediately engaged in a fierce battle with Emo Tianzhao. In just a short period of time, the two had exchanged more than 10 moves. The mysterious runes on the talisman shone brightly, shaking the void. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. So terrifying. The people below watched from afar, their hearts trembling with fear. You have some means. That's good. Then let's have a good fight. I hope you won't disappoint me. Otherwise, I don't mind killing you. Heavenly Demon Yelu Han said. When his voice fell, the void trembled. Billowing baleful aura surged, twisting the space as if it could affect the stability of the space. Under that baleful aura, the void trembled as if it was about to collapse. In an instant, Heavenly Demon Yelu Han's body was covered in dark red mysterious runes. That was a terrifying martial vein. It seemed to be releasing endless baleful aura. His face became fierce, and baleful aura lingered around him like a demon. It was incomparably terrifying. What a terrifying baleful aura. Below, Gui Che, Chi Nemo, and the others were originally full of baleful aura. At this moment, looking at the void, they trembled. That baleful aura made their scalps tingle. Although everyone's expression was solemn, no one interfered. Under that terrifying aura, everyone knew that it was not something they could interfere with. They didn't want to distract Du Xiaofu. Boom! Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the sky. Du Xiaofu was also covered by the thunder martial vein. Behind him, the phantom of a golden rock's wings condensed. The rock soared to the 9 heavens, carrying the domineering will of the golden-winged rock clan. At this moment, the golden phantom behind Du Xiaofu flapped its wings. He was like a real rock in human form. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Arcs of lightning crackled endlessly. It was deafening. The beast energy of the golden-winged rock clan, a very strong martial vein. It is indeed worthy of its reputation. It is worthy of me to take action. Heavenly Demon Yelu Han shouted. His voice was cold. He shook his arm, and baleful aura covered the void. It was incomparably terrifying. It turned into a ferocious beast that crossed the void, as if it had pierced through the void and swooped down towards Du Xiaofu. "I'll beat you down," Du Xiaofu replied. His black hair fluttered like a giant rock flapping its wings. Purple arcs of lightning flashed on his body. His hands formed seals, and the phantom of a ferocious beast roared and rushed out. There was the ancient bloodline, Huodou, the ancient, Tingxi, and the Bai, and Xieji. They destroyed the former and the baleful aura that covered the sky. Qi La. In the sea of baleful aura, countless sharp claws tore through the void. They were as sharp as divine blades, and destroyed the Tingxi, Huodou, and the other beasts. Rumble, rumble. Du Xiaofu was in the sky, controlling the arcs of lightning that filled the sky. They condensed into thunderbolts that carried a kind of heaven and earth punishing aura. Accompanied by the momentum of heaven and earth, they contained a vast and immeasurable power that caused the void to lose its color. This was Du Xiaofu's thunder and lightning divine ability. With the thunder martial vein and the 9 revolutions divine Lei Lian in his body, as well as the fusion of 3 types of spiritual thunder soul seeds, Du Xiaofu's comprehension of thunder and lightning divine ability had never been delayed. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The void exploded. The power of thunder and lightning was extremely young, destroying the baleful aura. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the void. There were purple lightning everywhere, as if it was the end of the world, spreading across the vast mountains. The power of thunder and lightning was terrifying, but it didn't shake Heavenly Demon Yelu Han's foundation. Heavenly Demon Yelu Han's body was still filled with baleful aura. He stood there proudly like the master of the demon realm. The space around him was impervious to thunder and lightning, forming a space of its own. However, Yelu Han's expression changed. His opponent was only a nirvanic nirvana cultivator, but he was worthy of being called a Grand Supreme. He also had the martial vein and the power of thunder and lightning. As expected, extraordinary, Yelu Han said. His eyes opened and closed, turning dark red. However, his forehead seemed to contain 2 seas of blood. A terrifying light shot out. With the baleful aura as the foundation, his martial vein connected the heaven and earth, turning into 100 zhang long baleful aura blade that slashed down from the void. Chapter 1625. This blade was too terrifying. It locked down the void and shook this part of the world. Du Xiaofu's eyes flashed with a sea of lightning as he activated the profound mysteries of the nether grass and the immortal grass. They swept out and entangled the terrifying blade. However, the blade was so terrifying that even with Du Xiaofu's current understanding of the profound mysteries of the nether grass and the immortal grass, he couldn't resist it and was cut into pieces. In an instant, a golden, black, and silver handprint condensed on Du Xiaofu's right palm. It was crystal clear and full of runes. Without any hesitation, the 3-colored handprint cut through the void and slapped toward the blade. Boom, boom. The 3-colored handprint expanded in the wind as the runes shone brightly. The runes contained a terrifying destructive power. They were 3 kinds of martial arts, condensed from Du Xiaofu's 3 seals of the mysterious 4-elephant seal. The blade and the palm collided, and in an instant, the entire void trembled. The surrounding void became chaotic as the dazzling runes drowned out everything. Cracks appeared in the void amidst a series of cracking sounds. The space was chaotic, and an energy storm swept out in all directions. Rumble. A pitch-black halo appeared in the void where the blade and the palm collided, like a black hole that swallowed everything. This scene caused the gazes below to be flabbergasted, terrified, and aghast. Under such destructive power, Everyone could feel that even an ordinary sealed domain cultivator would be severely injured, if not killed. If it was an initial domain cultivator, it would be strange if they didn't explode into pieces. They would die without a doubt. Walala! The blade light dissipated, and the billowing evil aura dissipated. However, in an instant, it turned into a storm of evil aura above the void and shrouded Du Xiaofu. Tornado space-shattering whirlpool. The terrifying storm of evil aura swept out like the most terrifying tornado, vaguely turning into a looming dragon that tore the void apart and distorted the sky. The edges of the whirlpool revealed pitch-black cracks. The evil aura storm affected the primordial spirit, and the terrifying evil aura could invade the body and destroy everything. At this moment, no matter how many initial domain cultivators there were, they would be crushed in an instant. Even sealed domain cultivators wouldn't be able to resist. Behind Du Xiaofu, the golden phantom of a great peng spread its golden wings. Purple gold lightning arcs flowed over his body as he activated the immortal Xian body. Du Xiaofu stood in the middle of the terrifying storm of baleful aura, unmoving. He was like a boulder. No matter how strong the evil aura was, it was blocked by the immortal Xian body. That enormous tearing force could tear a sealed domain realm expert to shreds, but before Du Xiaofu's indestructible Xian body and his divine body reached the great success stage, it was of no use at all. Is this all you've got? Du Xiaofu lifted his head to look in Yelu Han's direction, his eyes flashing with golden lightning. Don't be arrogant, suppress. Yelu Han shouted coldly as he appeared in the middle of the baleful chi vortex. His martial veins were connected to each other, and as he looked down from above, he formed hand seals. Every time a hand seal appeared, the baleful chi vortex would grow stronger, suppressing Du Xiaofu. 7 hand seals were formed in a row, and the terrifying evil aura vortex had reached the point where it could tear the sky apart. The evil aura soared to the sky, swallowing everything in its path, suppressing Du Xiaofu with a momentum that could destroy everything. At this moment, the master apothecary, Gu Qingyang, Tang Meiling, Gui Che, and the others all looked at the terrifying vortex. Even they felt their hearts tremble just by looking at it. It was simply too terrifying. Is this all you've got? Du Xiaofu said indifferently. Purple gold lightning arcs flowed from his immortal Xian body, tempering his body to major completion. He was still as immovable as a mountain. How can he have such a strong physical body? At this moment, Yelu Han was truly shocked. The space-shattering tornado was his ultimate move, but it couldn't even shake Du Xiaofu's body. This was too unbelievable. Break it! Du Xiaofu moved. Purple lightning arcs and golden talisman runes swept out from his body, blazing like a purple gold sun. This was the combination of lightning and the supreme beast ability of the golden winged rock. Golden talisman runes and purple gold lightning arcs soared into the sky. In the end, under Yelu Han's astonished gaze, they condensed into a purple gold lightning rock. Its entire body was purple gold, exuding a strong destructive aura. Gee! The purple gold lightning rock screeched, piercing through the clouds and splitting rocks. It flapped its wings and soared into the sky. Purple lightning arcs wreaked havoc in the sky, lighting up the sky like a purple gold sun, directly destroying the evil aura vortex. In an instant, the purple gold lightning rock appeared in the sky, blotting out the sun. Lightning arcs gushed out from its body, shocking everyone. Its power was too terrifying, shocking everyone's heart. Mo Tianxiao and Du Xiaofu's scarlet horse monkey primordial spirit fought fiercely. The intensity of the battle was no less than that of Yelu Han and Du Xiaofu's real bodies. Their attacks were fierce and swift, causing strange phenomena to appear in the sky. Mo Tianxiao was more and more shocked, and his face became gloomier. He didn't expect Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit to be so powerful. Lightning and the golden winged rock can be combined. At the same time, Yelu Han's body was pushed back. He stared at the purple gold lightning rock behind Du Xiaofu with bewilderment. He was truly shocked. I've controlled my strength to the nirvana level, but I can't do anything to you. The nirvana level of a grand supremacy is no small matter. It's protected by the heavens and earth. Yelu Han stared at Du Xiaofu, his face darkening. You're worthy enough for me to use my full strength. Nonsense, I haven't even used the nirvana level of a grand supremacy. You're clearly at the same level as me, so you're not my opponent. Why bother with excuses? Use your full strength, use your nirvana level of a grand supremacy and your spirit veins. Otherwise, you won't be my opponent. Du Xiaofu wasn't polite at all, but what he said was the truth. He hadn't used the nirvana level of a grand supremacy, and at this moment, he was sure that Yelu Han was also an ancient existence. He wouldn't be any weaker than Lien Qingrong. Since that's the case, you should also use your nirvana level of a grand supremacy. Yelu Han's face was gloomy. He secretly twitched, and a new wave of qi unreservedly swept out. Baleful qi once again filled the sky, and the sound of wind and thunder resounded, locking down the surrounding space. As expected, he's reached the nirvana level of a true self. The purple-gold lightning in Du Xiaofu's eyes fluctuated. This heavenly demon Yelu Han had indeed reached the true self level, and was definitely a terrifying old monster like Lien Qingrong. Boom! At the same time, divine light danced around Yelu Han's body like flames. Above his head, 6 rings of divine light hovered like divine rings. A vast aura filled the air, as if a grand supremacy was suppressing all living things. Another nirvana-level grand supremacy. Below, Gei Che, Qin Devil, Silver-Winged Demon Condor, and the others exclaimed. Although they had already guessed that Yelu Han was a nirvana-level grand supremacy, or else he wouldn't have such strength in the divine domain, they still couldn't help but exclaim. But Du Xiaofu wasn't surprised. He had already sensed the other party's identity. Nirvana level of a heavenly layer. You and I are separated by a heavenly layer. I wonder if your nirvana level grand supremacy can contend against me. Yelu Han stood in the air, light surging around him like a dark red sun, enveloping the world. He punched out, aiming for Du Xiaofu. Nirvana level of a heavenly layer. Du Xiaofu muttered softly, as if he was touched and comprehended something. When that terrifying punch arrived, the purple-gold thunder rock behind Du Xiaofu dissipated. Purple-gold light surged in his eyes, emitting a brilliant glow. Ancient symbols leaped and rose around his body like raging flames. These ancient runes changed from 1 to 2, then to 4, and finally to 8 ancient runes. They were arranged in a mysterious manner, connecting with each other in a strange arc, twisting the void. One of the runes glowed with a golden light, turning into a divine ring, blocking the punch. Bang! The punch landed, causing the void to explode. The ancient runes seemed simple, but at this moment, they blocked Yelu Han's terrifying punch. Dang dang! But Du Xiaofu was forced back. The golden runes that were originally bright dimmed, but soon after, they were connected by the other 7 runes, regaining their brilliance. Ha! Yelu Han's eyes flashed with astonishment. Those ancient runes were strange and contained profound mysteries. He had never seen such a technique before. Du Xiaofu was calm. The 8 ancient runes were still arranged around him. Some of the runes glowed with golden light, some of the runes glowed with dazzling white light, some of the runes glowed with lightning, some of the runes glowed with misty water, some of the runes glowed with blazing flames, and some of the runes howled with violent winds. Break for me! Yelu Han attacked again. His figure was like a ferocious tiger pouncing on its prey. The 6 divine rings around his body flared, enveloping his fist. His fists were filled with a billowing baleful aura, and he once again punched towards Du Xiaofu. 8 ancient runes rose up, the golden runes once again turned into divine rings, blocking the attack. Bang! But this time, the golden runes were directly blasted apart. Then the white runes formed another divine ring, followed by the lightning runes. 7 runes in a row blocked the attack. Bang bang bang! Yelu Han's punch contained the might of a supreme being, containing the momentum of heaven and earth. It was unstoppable, instantly blasting apart Du Xiaofu's 8 divine rings. The final punch arrived, colliding with Du Xiaofu's chest. Boom! Du Xiaofu was directly sent flying by this punch, but when he stabilized his body, blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. The 8 ancient runes that had just been blasted apart on Du Xiaofu's body once again strangely appeared, transforming into all kinds of strange phenomena. How can there be such a monstrous physical body? Is it really only at the nirvana level? Yelu Han couldn't help but be astonished. Those strange runes were strange, and Du Xiaofu's physical body was also terrifying to an abnormal degree. Yelu Han couldn't believe that his all-out attack had only caused minor injuries to Yi Futian. Continue. Yelu Han's expression darkened, and he once again attacked. Du Xiaofu continued to use the 8 ancient runes to revolve around his body, changing unpredictably and blocking with all his strength. Bang! Not long after, Du Xiaofu was once again sent flying, faint golden blood flowing out from the corner of his mouth. Continue. Yelu Han's attack was swift and clean. Bang! In just a short moment, Du Xiaofu was sent flying for the 3rd time. His shoulder was torn apart by a claw, revealing his flesh and blood. Baleful aura invaded his body. Purple gold electric arcs overflowed. Under the immortal Xian body, Du Xiaofu's shoulder immediately began to recover. The baleful aura was destroyed, and in a short period of time, it was as good as new. How can it be so strange? Yelu Han's state of mind became more and more perverted. Du Xiaofu's physical body was too strong. Oh, not far away in the sky, at this moment, a roar shook the heavens. Mo Tianxiao's body erupted with a shocking light, turning into a giant azure wolf. The azure wolf was covered in scales. It was only 100 zhang wide, but its power swept across the sky. The aura of a supreme being among beasts spread out. The master apothecary looked at the sky, his gray robe fluttering slightly. His deep eyes, which were shining with golden light, trembled fiercely. He couldn't help but exclaim, "Sky Wolf!" Chapter 1626. That's a heavenly wolf. Ghost Chariot, Phantom Tiger King, Violent Bear King, and Little Ing Ing, whose bloodline was already extraordinary, exclaimed in surprise. Heavenly Wolf was a terrifying existence. It was rumored that a single howl from a heavenly wolf would cause 10,000 wolves to submit. Other than the 3 supreme beasts, the dragons, phoenixes, and cheilants, there were also supreme beasts like the golden-winged roc, black tortoise, and white tiger. The golden-winged roc and black tortoise were already rare enough, but the heavenly wolf was even rarer, and the heavenly wolf was the pinnacle of the wolf race. It was rumored that the ancestor wolf of the wolf race was also the ancestor of the heavenly wolf race. It was definitely not much weaker than the golden-winged roc, black tortoise, and white tiger races. There was another legend about the scarcity of the heavenly wolf race. It was rumored that the ancestor wolf of the wolf race was incomparably cruel and bloodthirsty. Compared to the dragons, phoenixes, white tigers, and other races, it had killed more and more people. Because of this, it was punished by the heavens, causing the bloodline of the heavenly wolf race to become even rarer. Boom! However, Du Xiaofu's Yuan spirit was not afraid. A terrifying aura erupted, and mysterious runes that covered the sky surged, causing the surrounding space to ripple violently. Silver-gold lightning filled the sky, and the aura of a sovereign was magnificent and desolate. A fist swept out in all directions, suppressing everything. Once again, Du Xiaofu's Yuan spirit clashed with the heavenly wolf. 3 types of spiritual lightning soul seeds, the redbone horse bloodline soul, and the supreme spiritual root fused into one. This level of pressure was only stronger than the heavenly wolf. It could be said that Du Xiaofu's physical body was abnormal, but if one were to really compare it, Du Xiaofu's achievements in the primordial spirit were even more terrifying than his physical body. There were many physical body cultivation techniques in the world, and there were also living beings who were born with terrifying physical bodies. Although they were not as good as Du Xiaofu's immortal Xian body and divine body, some were not far off. However, in terms of primordial spirit, with Du Xiaofu's current level of primordial spirit, there was probably no one in the world that could be compared to him. Rumble! The intense battle continued. 6 divine rings appeared above Mo Tianxiao's head. He was using the power of a supreme being. He was also a supreme nirvana being. It's the nirvana of a sovereign again. This is a battle between sovereigns. Do you, Xie Ling Yi Lao, and the others were shocked. That kind of divine might made them feel weak. The primordial spirit, the red pheasant monkey, continued to battle with the sky wolf while Du Xiaofu's original body was once again enveloped by the 8 ancient runes. His immortal Shen body was filled with electric arcs, and he was as good as new. Heavenly fiend Yelu Han was stunned. He had clearly suppressed Du Xiaofu, but he couldn't do anything to him. His physical body had reached a freakish level, impervious to baleful energy. Even if it was destroyed, it would recover. What shocked Yelu Han the most was that every time the ancient runes around Du Xiaofu's body were destroyed, they would recover and become stronger and more robust. It seems to be like this, but it also seems to be like that, Du Xiaofu muttered under the ancient symbols. Faint golden blood dripped from the corner of his mouth, adding to his savagery. Bastard, he's using this chance to comprehend. Yelu Han finally made up his mind. Originally, he wanted to find Du Xiaofu for a battle to gain enlightenment and improve himself. Who would have thought that Du Xiaofu had already used him to gain enlightenment? To him, it was clear that Du Xiaofu did not take him seriously. Du Xiaofu did not treat him as a real opponent. However, at this moment, Yelu Han had wronged Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu didn't look down on him at all. On the contrary, he attached great importance to him. It was just that in the battle, Yelu Han's words and his true self-realm allowed Du Xiaofu to comprehend something. He began to seek his true self while comprehending the life-saving talisman. Let's see how strong your physical body is. Yelu Han's expression was gloomy. Baleful energy surged out from his body. It was as if there was a divine flame burning in his body, releasing resplendent dark red symbols. Finally, a majestic sea of baleful energy appeared around him. It was filled with symbols and emitted a dazzling light. That was a sea of baleful energy that had turned solid and could devour everything. Heavenly Meridian Spirit, Yelu Han's Meridian Spirit is a sea of baleful energy. It's too shocking. Everyone below was shocked. Yelu Han's Meridian Spirit was a sea of baleful energy. Go! Yelu Han attacked. The sea of baleful energy surged, affecting time and space. It was accompanied by supreme strength, shaking the void and enveloping Du Xiaofu. Rumble! The surging baleful energy and supreme strength turned into lightning that swept towards Du Xiaofu. Be careful! Everyone below was alarmed. They sucked in a breath of cold air for Du Xiaofu. But at this moment, they could only worry. They were clear that they didn't have the strength to resist and couldn't help. Walala! Suddenly, the void darkened as if something had swallowed the light. It was as if a starry sky had descended, piercing through space. Then, in front of everyone's shocked eyes, a starry sky suddenly appeared above Du Xiaofu's head. Starlight rippled as if there was a river of stars lingering around him. Runes fluttered in the air and transformed into a rain of light. There was a vast aura that enveloped Du Xiaofu's entire body and protected him from the baleful aura that was like lightning in the surroundings. School of Yin Yang. Yelu Han's eyes widened. Baleful energy surged in his eyes as he stared into the depths of the void. Walala! In the depths of the void, mysterious runes surged over. A graceful figure in a dress fluttered down. The multicolored light around her body was like stars revolving around her. She was noble and proud, causing people's hearts to ripple as they looked at her from afar. Her black eyebrows were curved, and her eyes were bright. Her face was extraordinary, and her light green dress fluttered in the night wind, accentuating her slender and tall figure. She was like a green lotus flower, pure and untainted by dust, yet seductive and moving. She was like a goddess that stepped out from the river of stars. At this moment, Zhu Shui, Tang Meiling, Jian, Shui Ruhan, and the other beauties below were overshadowed. She was like a real immortal that had descended to the mortal world, untainted by the mortal world. What a beautiful woman! Pushi, Zhu Shui, Jijian, and the others were moved. Looking at the immortal-like woman, they were shocked. Heavenly Demon Yelu Han, Heavenly Wolf Gu Tian Shao, at your age and cultivation level, you are really shameless. The woman spoke. Her red lips were red, and her eyes shone like the starry sky. Her body was surrounded by yin and yang energy. Countless rays of light fell like falling stars, causing the sea of baleful energy to surge. A terrifying aura surged in the void. "You dare to touch my father? I'll beat you into a dog." A tender voice rang out. Right after the goddess-like woman, a 7 or 8-year-old little girl descended. Her red dress fluttered in the wind, and starry patterns surrounded her. Her chubby cheeks were filled with bewitching eyes that contained a faint golden brilliance. She exuded a supreme, overbearing aura. Boom! The little girl attacked. Her small jade-like fist was covered in golden flames. Just as Heavenly Wolf Yelu Han's claw tore through the void and slashed towards Du Xiaofu's Scarlet Horse Monkey Primordial Spirit, she directly interfered. Her fist collided, and golden flames erupted. Bang! The golden flames spread out, and a muffled sound like thunder. The magnetic heat burned the void, and the little figure was forced back. Woo! The Heavenly Wolf roared, and its enormous body was forced back. Its claws were in pain from the burning golden flames. Only with the help of the green runes was it barely able to resist. Monkey! The little girl turned her head and looked at Du Xiaofu's Scarlet Horse Monkey Primordial Spirit. Her blue-black hair was tied into a ponytail, and she was stunned for a moment. Then she became overjoyed and said, "You're not Du Xiaoyao, you're my father. Father, Mother and I are here to help you." Little Xingxing. Du Xiaofu's Scarlet Horse Monkey Primordial Spirit was pleasantly surprised. If this little girl was not little Xingxing, who else could it be? He then smiled and patted little Xingxing's head, saying, "This guy is very strong. Be careful." "Humph, I'll slap him like a dog." Little Xingxing patted her little chest. There was a rune mark between her eyebrows, making her look noble and demonic. She suddenly turned her head, and a bright golden light burst out, and her body suddenly expanded. Woo! A dragon's roar resounded through the 9 heavens. A huge dragon coiled in the sky, spreading its wings like a phoenix's. Red and purple flames spread out from its body, and the aura of a golden-winged roc and a terrifying supreme aura swept through the sky. Awoo! When little Xingxing transformed into her true form, the Ghost Chariot, Little Ying, Violent Bear King, and Spiritual Tiger King below all trembled, and their bodies went limp. Little Sovereign is nothing. Little Xingxing's true form roared, and a divine ring that resembled a divine fire appeared above her head. It was filled with heavenly might, and 9 divine rings formed in a row. Golden flames filled her golden dragon eyes, as if they contained 2 vast golden seas of fire. A terrifying, strange, and complicated pressure descended from her true form. Under this terrifying pressure, the eyes of the Ghost Chariot, Spiritual Tiger King, and other monster kings trembled, and they couldn't resist at all. That little girl is also a Nirvana Grand Sovereign. She's going against the heavens. Master Apothecary Yi Wuming naturally knew little Xingxing. At this moment, looking at the terrifying dragon body above the void, his old eyes trembled fiercely. He felt like his eyes were brimming with tears, and his whole body was throbbing. Chapter 1627. You dare to touch my father? I'll beat you up. Little Star roared, his voice billowing out, causing all the beasts in the area to tremble. Under the dragon's might, they all trembled. In the next moment he directly pounced on Heavenly Wolf's solitary sky howl. Roar! Dragon's might rolled out, releasing the power of a grand sovereign. Light shrouded the sky, and the space in its path shattered. Another Nirvana Grand Sovereign. Nirvana. What kind of dragon is this? How can it be so strong? Heavenly Wolf's solitary sky howl's eyes trembled. The terrifying pressure made him tremble. If he hadn't reached the Nirvana realm, he would have been directly suppressed. He immediately activated his Nirvana realm to resist with all his might. Suppress! Little Star roared, and the dragon soared for thousands of miles. All kinds of power were released, crushing the sky. Roar! Suddenly, 2 loud roars resounded through the sky, piercing the clouds and splitting the stones. In an instant, the void in the distance suddenly filled with golden light. The golden light flowed out like countless golden ribbons pouring down from the sky. It's the golden-winged great rocks. Giche, Phantom Tiger King, and the others immediately looked over, their eyes trembling. They had stayed with the golden-winged great rocks before, so they immediately felt a familiar aura. It came from the golden-winged great rocks. Everyone looked up and trembled. The golden light emitted, and two enormous golden-winged great rocks spread their wings and soared into the sky. Their bodies were shining with golden light, and their ferocious aura spread out, causing the entire space to tremble. Above the forehead of the great golden-winged rock, whose ferocious aura was spreading out, there was a halo of light that was like 6 divine flames. The other enormous golden-winged great rocks had 3 rings of divine fire revolving around it, connecting the heaven and earth. They all carried the might of a grand sovereign. Little star, Auntie will help you. 3 rings of divine fire appeared, and the golden-winged great rocks flapped their wings and soared into the sky. The great rocks broke the sky, and they all enveloped Heavenly Wolf. Roar! The other great golden-winged peng had 6 divine rings above its head. It exuded the might of a sovereign and soared into the sky, blasting apart the fiendish qi si around Yi Lui Han. Endless golden light and fiendish qi surged into the sky. Its second commander Jialo Jueyu, and it seems like there's also great commander Jialo Kaling. The ghost chariot, Phantom Tiger King, Violent Bear King, and the others trembled in excitement. Jialo Jueyu and Jialo Kaling had arrived. Suppress! Shouted the goddess-like woman. She was the saintess of the Yin-Yang school, Qi. Her yin and yang qi transformed into a barrier of light that enveloped the world. Above her head, 6 divine rings that resembled divine flames appeared, causing a river of stars to hang in the air. They were resplendent and dazzling, suppressing the heavenly fiend Yelu Han. My mother! Do Nirvana Supremes not need money? They are all Nirvana Supremes. Master Apothecary, Ghost Chariot, Gu Ling, Shui Ruhan, Gu Qingyang, and the others were already boiling with shock. Every single one of them was a Nirvana paragon. This was a chaotic battle between Nirvana paragons. From ancient times until now, there had rarely been such a chaotic battle between Nirvana paragons. This kind of battle caused everyone to tremble with excitement. Chi. At this moment, the 8 ancient runes around Du Xiaofu slowly dissipated. Suddenly, purple gold lightning shot into the sky from his eyes. He looked at Qi Yishi and Jialo Jueyu and said, "Are you all here?" Rumble. As his voice fell, the 9 divine rings around Du Xiaofu's body rose into the air. The power of a Nirvana paragon gushed out. Immediately, the sound of heavenly music filled the air, suppressing the world until it rumbled. It was as if countless heavenly drums were beating at the same time, causing all living beings to tremble with fear. As you wish, I will fight with you and let you know what a true Nirvana paragon is. The 9 divine rings rose into the air, their resplendent light drowning out everything. Du Xiaofu attacked. Purple flames surged, starlight filled the sky, and golden light illuminated the world. Haha, interesting, really interesting. Let's fight. But at this moment, the heavenly fiend Yelu Han was stunned for a moment, but there was no fear in his eyes. Instead, his fighting spirit surged. He immediately attacked with all his strength, fighting against 3 Nirvana paragons by himself. Rumble. At this moment, the void was truly boiling, causing the blood of everyone below to surge. This was a battle between Nirvana paragons. All sorts of techniques and supernatural abilities were used. At this moment, their fighting spirit pierced through the sky. All the Nirvana paragons no longer held back. They all attacked with all their strength. Resplendent runes, intense battles, and all sorts of roars shook the heavens. Energy collided, bursting with divine light. The scattered energy was like an erupting volcano, vast and mighty waves of energy surging in all directions. Awesome, let's fight. The heavenly fiend Yelu Han shouted. His hair stood on end and his killing intent surged. His eyes were dark red, like a churning sea of killing intent. Yelu Han's body was also covered with a ferocious beast shadow armor. His killing intent was shocking, and his fighting spirit surged. Facing the suppression of Du Xiaofu, Qi Yeshi, and Jialo Jueyu, the heavenly fiend Yelu Han erupted with his true strength. His fighting strength was extraordinary, and his various ancient techniques were astonishing. Fighting against 3 Nirvana paragons, the heavenly fiend Yelu Han's strength was enough to prove his terrifying strength. Although Du Xiaofu, Qi Yeshi, and Jialo Jueyu's cultivation were inferior to Yelu Han's, when the 3 of them joined forces, they were unstoppable. When they suppressed together, it was as if they could destroy the heavens and the earth. On the other side, Heavenly Wolf Lonely Sky Howl was in a somewhat difficult situation. Being besieged by Jialo Kaling, Little Star, and Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit, Heavenly Wolf Lonely Sky Howl had used countless ancient techniques. He had also used the supreme beast energy of the Heavenly Wolf clan, but he was still suppressed. "I'll beat you into a dog." Little Star opened his mouth. His dragon scales glowed, erupting with waves of rumbling sounds. Resplendent runes were densely packed, erupting with the might of several Nirvana paragons. Little Star, Jialo Kaling, and Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit joined forces to suppress the Heavenly Wolf Lonely Sky Howl. Boom! Above the void, there was an unceasing riot. Berserk energy swept out, shaking the surroundings. Roar! Countless beasts weaved about, revealing all kinds of profound meanings. Mysterious runes and berserk energy were like stormy waves, spreading out endless resplendent ripples, shocking the creatures below. Pung ping pung! Thunderous energy exploded without end. Energy swept through the sea of clouds, shattering the void. Large swathes of the void were burning and collapsing. A group of Nirvana paragons fought in the 9 heavens. Boundless energy, bringing with it all kinds of heaven and earth forces, collided, submerging heaven and earth. The surroundings were blasted apart, mountains rumbled and collapsed. All the creatures below were already stunned. This group of Nirvana paragons was actually so powerful. The battle caused the surrounding void to collapse into nothingness. It made one's hair stand on end. A battle between Nirvana paragons is too terrifying. Ghost Chariot, Gu Qingyang, and the others were trembling. At this moment, they felt the might of the Nirvana paragons in the void. They were afraid that if they got close, they would be crushed into pieces. "You have to pay the price for destroying my puppets." In the chaotic battle, Du Xiaofu shouted. A dragon's roar filled the 9 heavens. The sound of a divine elephant's trumpeting rang out, surging in all directions, causing heaven and earth to tremble violently. Roar, 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 roar. The entire void was rumbling. Countless roars echoed in the sky, shocking the heavens and earth. The void was about to collapse. It was like a chain of thunder from the 9 heavens resounding in the mortal world, causing one's heart to tremble in fear. Even the heavenly demon, Yelu Han, was affected. Qi Yeshi attacked. The yin and yang cyclones turned into palm prints, falling down like stars, attacking the heavenly demon's armor. Jialo Jueyu took the opportunity to flap his wings, and golden light engulfed his body. Even someone as strong as the heavenly demon spat out blood. His body was sent flying, and dark red blood flowed from the corner of his mouth, adding to his ferocious appearance. Golden Winged Rock, Yin-Yang School, Demon King. You are indeed very strong. I don't need to come here. Let's stop here today and fight again next time. As his voice fell, the heavenly demon, Yelu Han, decisively turned around and left without hesitation. The heavenly wolf roared. Its ferocious fangs were stained red by its own blood. It was frighteningly ferocious. Lonely Sky Howl was being attacked by Little Star, Jialo Kaling, and Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit. He was being ravaged badly. Little Star roared, and a dazzling ink-black rune light spread out from its huge dragon body. Suddenly, an illusory beast roared like a dragon and soared into the sky. Its whole body was covered in scales, and it was completely black. The tortoise and snake intertwined like a living creature. It brought with it a huge pressure. Rumble! A majestic power spread out, and even the space was distorted. Spatial ripples spread out in all directions, causing the space to tremble. It suppressed the heavenly wolf, lonely sky howl. Black Tortoise, the heavenly wolf, lonely sky howl, was shocked. The terrifying power made him tremble, and the surrounding void was affected. Boom! The golden dragon tail, covered in purple flames and starlight, fell down. It was wrapped in golden flames, and it carried the Grand Sovereign out of the box. It heavily smashed onto the heavenly wolf's body. Puff! The heavenly wolf was sent flying, and it spat out blood once again. Its ferocious eyes looked at the strange dragon, the golden-winged rock, and the red-bone horse monkey standing in front of it. The heavenly demon had already retreated, and Lonely Sky Howl had already thought of retreating. While he was retreating, he didn't even look back. Green light shone, and he tore through the void, leaving without hesitation. The heavenly wolf, Lonely Sky Howl, and the heavenly demon, Yellow Han. Both of them were the most terrifying existences in the god domain. Two terrifying supreme existences had come together, but who knew that they would leave in a sorry state in the end? But at this moment, whether it was Du Xiaofu, Qi Yeshi, or Little Star, none of them had any intention of chasing after them. The heavenly wolf, Lonely Sky Howl, and the heavenly demon, Yellow Han, had both reached the Nirvana realm. Even if they could catch up, they wouldn't be able to do anything to them. At most, if they fought to the death, both sides would suffer heavy losses in the end. My puppets! The red-bone horse monkey's Yuan spirit body returned to the space between his eyebrows. Du Xiaofu felt a bit of heartache. The divine light puppets and Yin thunder puppets were both domain realm puppets. They were priceless treasures, and yet they had been destroyed just like that. He secretly decided that next time, he would find the heavenly wolf, Lonely Sky Howl, and the heavenly demon, Yellow Han, to compensate him. However, Du Xiaofu didn't think it was worth it to risk his life to fight the two of them for the Yin thunder puppets and the divine light puppets. He already had opponents like the dragons, legalism, and the school of vertical and horizontal. In the battle just now, Du Xiaofu had only warned them that he wasn't someone to be trifled with. If they didn't offend him, he wouldn't offend them. Dad, I've missed you so much. Little Star retracted her body. Her small, tender face and innocent smile made her seem harmless to humans and animals. She immediately leapt into Du Xiaofu's arms. You little girl. Du Xiaofu held the little girl tightly in his arms. His heart was filled with longing. The heartache of the two puppets being destroyed was instantly forgotten. Chapter 1628. School of Vertical and Horizontal, Legalism, Dragons, make way for me. My desolate country is destined to prosper. Master Apothecary Yi Wuming trembled with excitement as he looked at the group of Nirvana sovereigns in the sky. Even Little Star was a grand Nirvana sovereign. Just thinking about it made his blood boil. Yi Wuming's eyes trembled. Legalism, dragons, and school of vertical and horizontal could only make way for that group of terrifying sovereigns. Where did that guy get such a terrifying daughter? She's so abnormal. Laughing Rakshasa Tang Miling looked at Little Star who was in Du Xiaofu's arms. Little Star looked innocent and harmless, but that ferocious and domineering aura just now made her feel a lingering fear. That was the little demon king. Are you okay? Qi Yeshi stepped forward and looked at Du Xiaofu, her eyes rippling with starry radiance. Everything is fine. Du Xiaofu put down Little Star and looked at the girl in front of him. He was secretly amazed. This girl was getting more and more attractive. As expected, she was another Nirvana sovereign. He smiled and said, "Why are you here?" "I met Little Star together with many people from the school of Yin Yang. We heard that you were fighting with the dragons, legalism, and school of vertical and horizontal. We wanted to try our luck, but we didn't expect you to still be here." Qi Yeshi smiled. Looking at Qi Yeshi, Du Xiaofu felt grateful. Since the beginning of the Sure City until now, he didn't have any relatives or friends, but she had always done things for him. "Is this my sister-in-law?" Jialo Kai Ling's beautiful figure flashed and came to Du Xiaofu's side. She looked at Qi Yeshi with satisfaction. Her golden eyes were shining. She was also a peerless beauty, but she was overshadowed by Qi Yeshi at this moment. Du Xiaofu helplessly rolled his eyes at Jialo Kai Ling. This big sister is really capable of saying anything. Hearing Jialo Kailing's words, Chi Yeshi blushed and her face became even more alluring. She bowed to Jialo Kailing and said, "You must be Sister Kailing from the golden-winged Great Pengbird clan. Greetings." Hee, you're welcome. If this brat dares to bully you in the future, I'll definitely help you deal with him. Jialo Kailing laughed bluntly. She then looked at Du Xiaofu and said, "Come, let me see if you are all right." "Sister Kai Ling, I'm fine." Du Xiaofu smiled helplessly. Chi Yeshi's face was bright red, and she stopped talking to Jialo Kailing. However, her starry eyes were secretly looking at Du Xiaofu, intentionally or unintentionally. "I knew that the dragons and the others wouldn't be able to do anything to you." Jialo Kailing checked Du Xiaofu's face and pinched it a few times without any hesitation. Below, Gui Che, Xin Ling, Zhu Shui and the others could only stare in shock. Perhaps only Jialo Kailing would dare to be so unscrupulous in front of the Demon King. Young clan leader. Jialo Jueyu stepped forward. She was wearing a light yellow robe with golden edges. Her figure was extraordinarily beautiful, and her charm was unique. It was obvious that her cultivation had improved a lot during this period of time. "What about the other clan members?" Du Xiaofu asked. He didn't see Jialo Juekong and the others. "Everyone is looking for opportunities separately. Finally, we will gather at the center of the divine domain. There shouldn't be any big problems." Jialo Jueyu had a kind of confidence. No one would dare to provoke the descendants of the golden-winged Great Pengbird clan. They only needed to be wary of the dragons, legalism and the school of vertical and horizontal. Du Xiaofu nodded. After entering the divine domain, everyone was looking for their own opportunities. Naturally, everyone would have a higher chance of success if they were separated. There were dangers and opportunities in the divine domain. After all, they had entered the divine domain to train themselves. Naturally, it would be much safer if they stayed together. However, they would also lose the original intention of entering the divine domain. Old man. Little Xingxing had already run down. She wasn't polite to Yi Wuming and Gu Qingyang. However, this was more intimate. However, for Master Apothecary Yi Wuming and Gu Qingyang, looking at little Xingxing, their hearts were still pounding. This little girl was absolutely abnormal. "Greetings, Purple Dragon Emperor." Gui Che, Spiritual Tiger King, Little Ying, Violent Bear King and the others immediately bowed. This terrifying girl was definitely an existence that they couldn't afford to provoke. Whoosh whoosh, far away in the void, there were many figures flying over. Their auras were vast. "They are the disciples of the school of Yin-Yang," Chi Yeshi said. Those were the disciples of the school of Yin-Yang that were following behind them. She and little Xingxing had just arrived first. There were over 100 figures coming over. All of them were extraordinary. Du Xiaofu glanced over and secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Qi Jiajun wasn't among them. Last time, he was defeated by the school of Yin-Yang's infinite brilliant star spear. Now, he had also fallen into the hands of Gui Che. If they were to meet, Qi Yeshi would be somewhat embarrassed. Qi Jiajun is also from the school of Yin-Yang, right? Du Xiaofu probed. Last time, the situation at the legalism school was special, so he didn't ask Qi Yeshi these questions. However, he felt that there should be some relationship between Qi Jiajun and Qi Yeshi. "Jiajun is my younger brother." Qi Yeshi looked at Du Xiaofu. Her eyes rippled with starlight, as if she was deliberately reminding him of something. She said, "He is my only biological brother." "Your biological brother?" Hearing this, Du Xiaofu immediately had a bad feeling in his heart. After Jiajun went back, he was full of praise for you. He put in a lot of good words for you in the family. Qi Yeshi looked at Du Xiaofu and smiled. "Is that so?" Du Xiaofu smiled embarrassedly. He didn't dare to believe it and was a little suspicious. Qi Jiajun was definitely a clever person. After losing to the infinite brilliant star spear, would he really put in a good word for him? Boom! Suddenly, the void trembled, and a vast qi descended. Du Xiaofu raised his eyes and immediately looked at the beautiful woman sitting cross-legged on the flat rock. Swish, swish, Qi Yeshi, Jialo Juyu, Jalo Kaling and the others also felt the source of the movement and looked over. Walala, unknowingly, the black and white halos around Su Mushin's body began to glow with divine light. Above the void, strange movements began to appear. Rumble. Finally, there was a strange phenomenon in the sky. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. The entire void began to boil. There was a vast heavenly might that shook the surroundings. From Su Mushin's body, a divine ring appeared, followed by a second ring. A total of 3 divine rings appeared, burning like divine flames. Chi! When the 3 divine rings shrouded her, Su Mushin opened her eyes. The dazzling light in her eyes turned into substance and shot straight into the sky. At this moment, the surrounding void trembled violently for no reason. Roar! At this moment, a huge white tiger phantom appeared. It was earth-shattering. It roared into the sky and shook the 9 heavens. When the 3rd divine ring was formed, above the sky, there was a light beam of heaven and earth energy that seemed to transcend time and space. It enveloped Su Mushin. With the white tiger lingering around, Su Mushin's body was filled with light. Her hair danced as she absorbed the energy of heaven and earth from all directions. She was forging her supreme godhead and refining her body. Her whole body was filled with light. Half-step supreme nirvana, Jalo Kaling said as she looked at Su Mushin. She seemed to be moved. What is a half-step supreme nirvana? Du Xiaofu was surprised. At this moment, the strange phenomenon brought about by Su Mushin clearly carried the might of a supreme nirvana. However, it wasn't a supreme nirvana. The 3 divine rings above her head were exactly the same as Jalo Kaling's. Jalo Kaling explained to Du Xiaofu, in addition to the greater supreme nirvana and lesser supreme nirvana, there is another kind of nirvana that is inferior to the lesser supreme nirvana. However, it surpasses the martial domain. It is called the half-step nirvana. This is the divine domain. It can allow people to comprehend the supreme nirvana. She hasn't reached the supreme nirvana, but she has reached the half-step supreme nirvana. It is the same for me. When I broke through some time ago, I was fortunate enough to step into the half-step supreme nirvana. Half-step supreme nirvana. Du Xiaofu's eyes flickered. The half-step supreme nirvana was inferior to the lesser supreme nirvana. However, it was still stronger than the martial domain realm. Although it was only a half-step supreme nirvana, it had already surpassed the martial domain realm. With the nourishment of energy and the forging of the supreme nirvana, Su Mushin's aura continued to rise. It only calmed down when she finally stepped into the nirvana realm. What a beautiful lady! When the last lady in a dark purple dress appeared, she was extremely charming and alluring. Qi Yeshi and Jalo Kaling couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. Su Mushin's eyes flickered as she broke through. Although she was in the midst of comprehending the breakthrough, she had sensed the shocking commotion in her surroundings. It almost caused her to go berserk. Su Mushin knew very well that the reason she could become a half-step supreme nirvana was because of the universe dragon tiger art. She and Du Xiaofu cultivated together. Their spirit was one. She had comprehended the supreme nirvana realm and benefited from it. Looking at the many figures that appeared in front of her, Su Mushin's eyes flashed with astonishment. In the end, Du Xiaofu introduced them to each other and everyone became familiar with each other. Although Jalo Kaling and Qi Yeshi were born noble and had outstanding temperaments, Su Mushin was not overshadowed at all. Her bewitching charm made her stand out from the rest. The half-step supreme nirvana realm already proved that Su Mushin was qualified to be mentioned in the same breath as her. The 3 ladies stood together. They were so charming that everyone couldn't help but sigh. Everyone gathered together and there was a lot of gossip. However, most of it revolved around the deity domain. From the crowd, Du Xiaofu learned that many opportunities had appeared in the deity domain. There were ancient inheritances that had appeared and were being fought over. There were also countless heavenly treasures and artifacts. Almost everyone had gained something. Du Xiaofu didn't seek opportunities. He had been comprehending himself. Hence, he wasn't envious. He had his own path to walk. Du Xiaofu felt that his path wouldn't be inferior to anyone. He would definitely be able to compete with the supremes of the heavens and earth when he reached the peak. I heard that you killed the dragons and thousands of people. How did you do it? Qi Yeshi looked at Du Xiaofu curiously. She had heard a lot of news and was curious about it. She wanted to prove it. Chapter 1629. Among the thousands of people, it was impossible for all of them to not have life-saving talismans. It was impossible to truly kill them. However, the news she received was that they had truly been killed. If I have comprehended something, I can destroy the life-saving talisman. Du Xiaofu smiled faintly. You can control the life-saving talisman? Jialo Kaling was stunned and in disbelief. However, she naturally believed in her sworn brother. Many disciples of the Yinyang school, Gui Che, Tang Miling, and the others trembled in fear. Destroying a life-saving talisman was equivalent to destroying someone's greatest trump card in the God domain. It was equivalent to taking away someone's life. I can't control it. I can only destroy the life-saving talisman. Du Xiaofu said with a smile. No wonder. Qi Yeshi was also shocked. She then smiled. She had received news that Haning Ma, Long Si, and Su Yuni had all been killed. Those were 2 Nirvana Supremes and a few pure-blooded descendants of the Dragon Clan. This was already enough to cause serious damage to the 3 great powers. Those who have lost their life-saving talisman, come forward. Du Xiaofu said as if he had made a decision. What is this guy going to do? Jialo Kaling, Qi Yeshi, and the others were curious. Under everyone's astonished gaze, many people who had lost their life-saving talismans stood forward. Du Xiaofu's expression turned slightly solemn. He was slightly nervous as he formed a seal with his hands. Golden light surged in his eyes as his eyes were filled with splendor. Within his palm, ancient runes danced and rose like raging flames. The ancient runes changed from 1 to 2 and then to 4. In the end, they turned into 8 ancient runes and revolved around Du Xiaofu's palms. Du Xiaofu took a deep breath and his hand seals kept changing. The 8 ancient runes were arranged in a mysterious manner and connected in a mysterious arc. They distorted the void and began to shine with golden light. Some of the runes were dazzling with white light. Some of them were filled with lightning, some of them were misty, some of them were raging flames, and some of them were whistling in the wind. In the end, all of them converged and turned into a strange rune. The runes were resplendent and flickered with radiance. They carried an extremely special reincarnation aura. A life-saving talisman. When the final rune appeared, Qi Yishi, Jialo Kaling, Jialo Jueyu, Gui Che, and the others all cried out in surprise. Go! Du Xiaofu's final hand seal condensed, and this talisman's secret text directly swept into the forehead of a Du family disciple who had a life-saving talisman. Then, it flickered and did not dissipate, remaining intact. It's all right. Du Xiaofu let out a sigh of relief. In his battle with the heavenly fiend Yelu Han, he had gained a new understanding of the life-saving talisman. Originally, he had destroyed the life-saving talisman, but now he could finally condense a life-saving talisman in the divine domain. Succeeding on his first try, Kai proved that he had made great progress in his comprehension. Life-saving talisman. I have another life-saving talisman. The Du family disciple was stunned. He felt the life-saving talisman fluctuate between his eyebrows. The feeling was exactly the same as before. He had lost it and regained it, which meant that he had gained another life in the divine domain. He immediately trembled with excitement and joy. Trembling, he said to Du Xiaofu, "Thank you, Brother Xiaofu. Alright, be careful in the divine domain." Du Xiaofu smiled, then said, "Next. Life-saving talisman. That's a life-saving talisman." Those who had lost their life-saving talismans finally understood why they were called out. They were given life-saving talismans. After losing their life-saving talismans, if they encountered another calamity in the divine domain, their souls would really be destroyed. And if they had another life-saving talisman, they could undoubtedly die again. If they encountered a dangerous situation, they could rely on it to fight with all their strength. Those who had lost their life-saving talismans immediately lined up excitedly, trembling. To them, this was definitely a heaven-sent opportunity. Heavens, he can set up a life-saving talisman. Unbelievable! Chi Yeshi, Jialo Juayu, Jialo Kaling, Gui Che, and the others were already stunned. It's over. Legalism, school of vertical and horizontal, and dragons are probably going to suffer a real nightmare. Then, Chi Yeshi sighed softly and began to pray for legalism, school of vertical and horizontal, and dragons. Kiki, do you think the dragons, legalism, and school of vertical and horizontal will be in a hurry to withdraw their people after hearing this news? Suddenly, Jialo Kaling seemed to have understood something and asked the person beside her. We should wait for them to know, Chi Yeshi replied. Chi Yishi replied. The two women looked at each other and smiled. There was a malicious smile on their charming faces. Kiki, legalism, school of vertical and horizontal, and dragons, just wait for your misfortune. Elder Gu Qingyang laughed without any scruples. The aura of a peerless expert was instantly gone. A total of more than 200 people had lost their life-saving talismans. It was not until dusk that Du Xiaofu rearranged all the people who had lost their life-saving talismans. This included the disciples of the Desolate Country, Hahuan School, Ancient Heaven Sect, and School of Yinyang. However, this had already exhausted Du Xiaofu to the point that his face was pale. Along the way, he had swallowed many spiritual herbs to replenish his energy. The consumption of arranging life-saving talismans was not ordinary. I have another life-saving talisman. Thank you, Uncle Master Du. Thank you, Rock Emperor. Thank you, Sect Supervisor. All the people who had lost their life-saving talismans were incomparably excited when they received one again. They were overjoyed and thanked him one after another. At night, Du Xiaofu, Little Xingxing, Chi Yeshi, Su Muxin, Jialo Juayu, Qin Demon, Master Apothecary, Gui Che, Gu Qingyang, and a few others gathered together. He said, I'm going into seclusion again. You all can search for opportunities together. Father, you're not coming with us? Little Xingxing asked in surprise. Everyone also looked at Du Xiaofu in surprise. I want to walk my own path. If you all stay together, it will be safe enough. You can also search for your own opportunities. Staying together is not a good thing. Du Xiaofu had already decided that if everyone stayed together, there would not be any danger. The dragons, school of vertical and horizontal, and legalism had already suffered heavy losses. Even if they encountered the school of vertical and horizontal again, everyone had their own life-saving talismans. As for himself, Du Xiaofu wanted to walk his own path. He wanted to find his true self and take another step forward. The opening time of the divine domain was uncertain. It might even close soon. If he did not make a breakthrough during this period of time, he would not be able to face legalism, school of vertical and horizontal, and the dragons. He did not have much time left. With your current strength, in this divine domain, other than those dangerous places, you won't be in too much danger. However, you have to be careful of a few terrifying existences. They are all very powerful. Chi Yeshi's eyes flickered with starlight. She did not stop him anymore. She knew what he was thinking. He wanted to find his own path and could not always be with everyone. Poor they? Du Xiaofu asked. In terms of information, he could not compare to the school of Yinyang. Fire Cloud Evil God Dugafenshin, Great Snow Mountain Descendant Lian Qingrong, Undead Spirit Demon Dongfang Qingmu, Dark Hell Emperor Nether Demon, Heavenly Demon Yelu Han, and Heavenly Wolf Mo Tianxiao. Qi Yi, she said to Du Xiaofu, Dugafenshin, Lian Qingrong, and Yelu Han came from ancient inheritances. They are not inferior to the 9 great families, but their inheritances have almost been severed. They should be the last inheritances. It is rumored that they have existed for 2,000 to 3,000 years and are all Nirvana sovereigns. They deliberately suppressed their cultivation at the Nirvana True Self realm and didn't break through. They were waiting for the divine domain to open so that they could find the greatest opportunity to revive their inheritances. Nether Demon and Dongfang Qingmu are demon spirit experts that have existed for countless years. However, they do not belong to the demon domain. Mo Tianxiao is from the Heavenly Wolf clan. Rumor has it that he purposely did not continue to make a breakthrough for the sake of the divine domain. These guys are really terrifying. Hearing this, Gui Che, Gu Qingyang, Zhu Shui, and Master Apothecary were all shocked. There are actually so many terrifying existences. Du Xiaofu was also very touched. He originally thought that there would not be many existences like Lian Qingrong, the descendant of the Great Snow Mountain. He did not expect there to be so many of them. Looking at everyone's shocked expression, Jialo Kai Ling said, "The world is so vast. Rumor has it that the place we know of is only one of the many places in the world. There will naturally be many supreme existences among the multitude of living beings in the world." Sister Kai Ling is right. There will naturally be many supreme existences among the multitude of living beings in the world. When the divine domain opens, all the outstanding people in the world will gather. There will be many supreme existences and supreme existences. Perhaps there will be many hidden experts who have yet to be exposed. Qi Yeshi smiled. Could it be that there are still experts? You guys are already terrifying enough. Gu Qingyang, Master Apothecary, and the others sighed. Looking at the group of young people in front of them, each stronger and more abnormal than the last, they couldn't help but feel shocked. Xiaofu, there are still a few people you have to pay attention to. You must pay attention. Qi Yeshi looked at Du Xiaofu with a serious expression. She did not seem to be joking at all. Chapter 1630. Du Xiaofu looked at Qi Yeshi and asked curiously, "Who are they?" Qin Wudi from the Legalism, Gong Sun Wuji from the School of Vertical and Horizontal, and Long San from the Dragons. Qi Yeshi said, "The 9 great clans have been planning for this trip to the Divine Dominion. Rumor has it that if they can obtain the greatest opportunity in the Divine Dominion, they will be able to rise above the other 8 great clans and prosper in the world. During the birthday celebration of the old sovereign of the Legalism, the great clans and the great clans sent their best representatives. However, the strongest existences behind them have always been hidden. Just like you. You didn't go last time." Du Xiaofu smiled. He had already guessed it. Qi Yeshi was also a hidden existence in the school of Yinyang. However, she had joined the Legalism with Senior Xing Hun because of him. Don't be careless. Strictly speaking, Qin Wudi and Gong Sun Wuji are not of the same generation as us. According to the information I received, Qin Wudi has an extremely high position in the Legalism. He is your mother's 3rd brother. Qi Yeshi paused for a moment and looked at Du Xiaofu. As for Gong Sun Wuji, he is related to both your parents. Perhaps the School of Vertical and Horizontal's desire to deal with you has a lot to do with him. He has a grudge with my parents? Du Xiaofu roughly understood the reason. No wonder the School of Vertical and Horizontal, Legalism, and the Dragons were on the same side. It's not just a grudge. Qi Yeshi smiled bitterly and said, "Let's put it this way. Your mother was originally engaged to Gong Sun Wuji. However, your mother went to Tianwu Academy and met your father. After that, everything happened." Hearing this, everyone looked at Du Xiaofu curiously. I didn't know that Uncle Tingxian was so powerful. Yi Zijin was a little surprised, but there was a smile on her face. So there are such things. Only then did Ghost Chariot, Master Apothecary, Yi Wuming, and Gu Qingyang understand that Du Xiaofu's father was so powerful that he could even snatch the daughter-in-law of the House of Vertical and Horizontal. It was no wonder that the House of Vertical and Horizontal interfered and insisted on dealing with the Demon King. No one knows what level Qin Wudi and Gong Sun Wuji have reached, but rumor has it that they might be above Su Yuni and Haningma. Qi Yeshi said, "Long San is sure to be a Nirvana Supreme. His strength is unfathomable." Du Xiaofu didn't say anything, but he knew a lot about the various reasons. Du Xiaofu already knew a lot about Qin Wudi's existence from the primordial spirit search of the Legalism disciples. As for Gong Sun Wuji, he secretly remembered him in his heart. The next day, Du Xiaofu bid farewell to everyone and once again stepped on the path to find his true self. But according to Qi Yeshi, Du Xiaofu continued to go deeper. That was the center of the divine domain. Everyone was going there, and the final opportunity would appear there. "Dad, be careful." Little Star was reluctant to leave. She wanted to follow, but she couldn't do so. Take good care of yourself. Also, everyone, help me pay attention to my dad. He's also in the divine domain." Du Xiaofu waved goodbye to everyone and then swaggered off. Time slowly passed, and the divine domain was surging like a storm. The news of several supremes fighting spread, causing an uproar. In the divine domain, inheritances appeared every day. Heavenly treasures appeared, and there were disputes every day. There were also countless great dangers that caused many people to suffer. There were also many terrifying ancient beast descendants. They were powerful and frightening. No one was willing to provoke them, not even the 9 great clans. As time passed, many people lost their life-saving talismans and entered for the second time. Thus, the disputes gradually escalated to a true confrontation. Blood dyed many places red. Some people obtained shocking treasures, and there were even rumors of people obtaining saint artifacts. This news couldn't be hidden and was immediately hunted down. The 18 heavenly guards and the desolate nations Du Yunlong also gradually became famous in the divine realm, leaving everyone stunned and shocked. It was rumored that the leader of the 18 celestial guards, Yi Piaoling, was a Nirvana supreme. He led 17 brothers, and no one could stop them. The 18 of them killed hundreds of people from the legalism school of vertical and horizontal. Du Yunlong also became the 3rd person in the Du clan to kill a pure-blooded true dragon descendant, shocking everyone. The pitiful dragon 5th had already lost his life-saving talisman to Du Xiaofu. It was rumored that he met Du Yunlong from the Du clan and wanted to kill Du Yunlong for revenge. He also wanted to take back the heavenly dragon cover from Du Yunlong. Who would have thought that Du Yunlong would step into the Nirvana stage and kill him directly? This matter shook everyone and caused an uproar, causing people to suck in a breath of cold air. At this time, all the powers realized how terrifying the desolate country was. Just the number of Nirvana supremes was enough. The desolate country also had existences like Qinguyu, the silver-winged demonic condor, the zither devil, Guiche, Du Xiaoqing, and Little Tiger. They were enough to sweep through any power. Don't provoke the desolate country. In the divine domain, the elders of the various powers warned their juniors. Not to mention the demon king, Du Xiaofu, the other youths of the desolate country were also abnormally tyrannical. Some of them were fierce murderers. If they weren't vicious beasts, then they were killing gods. Whoever provoked them would have bad luck. The disciples of the 9 great clans were full of arrogance. They didn't put the common people in their eyes. However, after entering the divine domain and encountering the desolate country's peers, they realized that the outside world was not simple. As all kinds of uproar spread, some people were surprised to see the demon king, Du Xiaofu's figure appear in a dangerous place. He broke in alone and left after a few days. The others couldn't even enter the dangerous place. There were terrifying ancient arrays everywhere. There were also people who saw the demon king, Du Xiaofu's figure appear in a bottomless abyss. He seemed to be comprehending something. Ancient runes flickered all over his body, as if they wanted to transform into mountains and lakes. In the vast sea, there were also people who saw the demon king, Du Xiaofu's figure. In the end, he disappeared into the sea. Like this, another month passed. The demon king, Du Xiaofu's figure had disappeared for a long time. No one knew where he went. The school of vertical and horizontal, the dragons, and the legalism spies were secretly looking for the demon king, Du Xiaofu, but in the end, they couldn't find him. However, as they got closer to the center of the divine domain, the names of many fierce people spread and shook the world. Among them were the fire cloud evil god, Dugfenshin, dark hell emperor, heavenly wolf Mo Tianxiao, great snow mountains descendant, Lian Qingrong, heavenly demon Yelu Han, and undead spirit demon Dongfang Qingmu. These 6 people were said to have monstrous strength. In the ancient ruins, there were continuous broken walls and ruins. In a mottled stone house, Du Xiaofu's black hair draped over his shoulders. His face was even more resolute. Du Xiaofu sat cross-legged. 8 ancient runes covered his body. They were arranged, derived, and changing. With his eyes tightly closed, Du Xiaofu was immersed in a state of enlightenment, entering into a state of emptiness. The 8 ancient runes comprehended from the life-saving talisman were connected to the divine domain. The profound mysteries were vast and incomparably profound. Du Xiaofu was immersed in it. After an unknown amount of time, Du Xiaofu's body shone. The 8 ancient runes were changing and overlapping with each other. In the end, the mysterious 8 ancient runes could give birth to 64 ancient runes. They relied on each other and shone resplendently. Then, they once again turned into 8 ancient runes. The 8 ancient runes were changing and lingering around Du Xiaofu's body. They brought with them a strange energy of heaven and earth, which was forging Du Xiaofu's body and primordial spirit. At this moment, if there were experts above the realm of true self who saw this scene, they would be astonished and in disbelief. They would find that Du Xiaofu's path was different from theirs. Du Xiaofu wasn't looking for the true self in the cultivation of profound mysteries. He seemed to be looking for his own true self. To put it simply, Du Xiaofu was looking for the true self in his body and primordial spirit. It was unknown whether the ancient people had tried this path, but at least no one in the present world had heard of it. Putting everything aside, Du Xiaofu's current achievements had already amazed those ancestor-level experts in the outside world. There were even ancestor-level powerhouses who gave the order to investigate how Du Xiaofu had cultivated and how he had achieved such great achievements. The nirvana of a Grand Supreme was enough to prove everything. If they could investigate clearly, comprehend and perfect it, that path was enough to shock even ancestor-level experts. Chapter 1631. The 8 ancient runes sometimes split into 64 runes and sometimes returned to 8 runes. They changed unpredictably and merged with Du Xiaofu's body. Du Xiaofu was immersed in them. Whether it was his body or his soul, Du Xiaofu was subliming. However, Du Xiaofu was not satisfied. He wanted to continue on this path. He wanted to go further on this path. In the end, the 8 runes lingered and twisted the surrounding space. In this space of the divine dominion, there was a strange energy fluctuation. It surged into Du Xiaofu's body, causing Du Xiaofu's body to become even more crystalline and translucent. It was as if a layer of dead skin had been shed on the surface of his body, giving off a new vitality and full of vitality. Above Du Xiaofu's head, ancient runes flashed like divine fire, shining brilliantly. At this moment, around the ancient ruins, the runes seeped out of the broken walls and gathered together. This ancient ruin used to be the mansion of an ancient powerhouse. It used to be the location of an ancient sect. Over the countless years, it had retained an invisible spirituality. Once it was used, it would bring great benefits to the cultivator. Du Xiaofu had chosen to cultivate in seclusion here for this reason. He hoped to obtain the spirituality left behind by the ancient cultivator to strengthen his body and sublimate his soul. In this space of the divine dominion, there were opportunities everywhere. Only Du Xiaofu would waste his time on this kind of cultivation. Instead of looking for opportunities, he would look for the illusory spirituality that existed in the ancient ruins. This was something that others would not even look at. No one would care about it. It did not bring any substantial benefits to cultivators. Sometimes, they would even spend a lot of time and still end up with nothing. They would not be able to use the spirituality. However, Du Xiaofu was different. He was absorbing the spirituality in the ancient ruins to strengthen his body and sublimate his soul. This kind of feeling was like a fish swimming into the sea, or a baby in his mother's arms. Whoosh! After an unknown period of time, the 8 runes around Du Xiaofu overlapped and merged. They changed and gradually calmed down. In the end, the runes withdrew into his body and disappeared. Phew! After a while, Du Xiaofu exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. His eyes were clear and deep. He looked even more outstanding and gave people a feeling of transcendence. This kind of intangible temperament was difficult to describe with words. However, it made people feel a different kind of emptiness, as if there were no impurities. It's been 3 months. I've made some progress, but it's still not enough. Du Xiaofu muttered to himself. After packing up, he walked out of the ancient ruins and headed towards the center of the divine domain. Along the way, it was said that the space of the divine dominion was very vast. He had been in seclusion for so long, so naturally he did not see anyone. He had been in seclusion for so long, so naturally he did not see many people. They had been in seclusion for so long, to the center, to the center, to the... With the primordial spirit of the red-bone horse monkey, Du Xiaofu collected a lot of spiritual herbs along the way. With the heavenly tower of purplish gold on him, Du Xiaofu managed to find quite a number of arcane and Dao artifacts. However, in the end, the heavenly tower of purplish gold devoured them all, reducing them to ordinary metal. However, the highest quality one was already a quasi-saint tool. Du Xiaofu forcibly kept it. He could not bear to let the purple gold heavenly tower devour it. Du Xiaofu and the purple gold heavenly tower spent a lot of effort to subdue and suppress this quasi-saint tool. In the end, Du Xiaofu took it for himself. He kept it in the purple thunder profound cauldron and suppressed it. This caused the purple gold heavenly tower to be dissatisfied. You've already devoured a lot. Digest it well. Du Xiaofu looked at the purple gold heavenly tower in his hand and said, after entering the divine dominion, the purple gold heavenly tower had devoured enough Dao tools and Dao tools. The artifact spirit had also been improving. However, the strange thing was that he could not identify the specific level of the purple gold heavenly tower. However, Du Xiaofu felt that the purple gold heavenly tower's power was at least not below that of a quasi-saint tool. The artifact spirit had already devoured a lot of high-grade Dao tools. Du Xiaofu's heart ached when he devoured so much. Buzz, buzz. The purple gold heavenly tower emitted the sound of wind and thunder. It seemed to be protesting against Du Xiaofu. The protest is invalid. Du Xiaofu overruled the purple gold heavenly tower's protest and kept it in the divine tower. Let's try again. Then Du Xiaofu's hand seals condensed. The ancient runes condensed into a life-saving talisman. Finally, he put it in the space between his eyebrows. Walala, the life-saving talisman emitted a dazzling light with the aura of reincarnation. Du Xiaofu clearly felt that the life-saving talisman was about to fall into his forehead. However, for some reason, it disappeared in the end. I failed again. Can't I really give myself a life-saving talisman? Du Xiaofu sighed. This was already the 5th time he tried. However, he failed every time. He could not give himself a life-saving talisman. Originally, he thought that with a life-saving talisman, he could be willful in the divine domain for once. He would dare to risk his life against experts and seize opportunities in dangerous places. However, in the end, Du Xiaofu could only hang his head dejectedly. It's time to meet up with everyone. Du Xiaofu murmured. Anyway, he had already accepted the fact that he could not give himself a life-saving talisman. Then he continued to leave. Du Xiaofu shuttled all the way to the center of the divine domain. So much time had passed. He was worried about everyone's safety. He did not know what the situation outside was like. This was an ancient cave. There were faint thunderbolts lingering around it. A figure with a straight back was sitting cross-legged. His body was surrounded by faint lightning, covering every inch of his body. He exuded a powerful destructive force. Amidst the thunderbolts, there were purple talisman runes under his robes. The purple electric arcs rippled with a murderous aura. This was a handsome middle-aged man. His body was rippling with a formless pressure of the heavens and earth. His hair fluttered in the wind. His face was strong and handsome. He gave off an incomparably powerful feeling. Suddenly, the middle-aged man's tightly shut eyes opened. Purple thunderbolts surged in his eyes. They were sharp and overbearing. A terrifying aura spread out from his body. You just caught up? It's been a while. Let's settle this first. He spoke. He stood up straight and gave off a murderous aura. Within the cliff, dozens of figures appeared. There were many old men and middle-aged men. They were all true martial domain realm cultivators. There were also many young men and women. Every one of them was extraordinary. Even in the outside world, they would be extremely powerful. After searching for so long, Du Tingxian is hiding here. It can't be wrong. A middle-aged man said to the leading old man beside him. He looked at the cliff in front of him. His eyes flickered with a blazing flame. "Restrain your aura and surround this place. Don't let him escape," the old man said to the people beside him with murderous intent in his eyes. Rumble! Suddenly, just as the old man finished speaking, countless thunderbolts fell from the cliff in front of them. "Help!" Thunderbolts pierced through the void and descended with vast power. Immediately, many people were killed. They screamed and wailed. The remaining people were in a mess. "Du Tingxian, come out if you can. What's the point of sneaking up on us?" Looking at the thunderbolts descending and killing more than 10 people, the leading old man exploded with divine light. He turned into a sea of fire and blocked the thunderbolts. His eyes were filled with coldness and his voice was harsh. "Old man, you still dare to be so dignified when you bring people to sneak up on us." As soon as he finished speaking, a figure stepped on lightning and slowly flew out from the cliff. Immediately, he appeared in midair. Boom! Just as the figure appeared in midair, a terrifying aura swept out from his body like a storm. What a powerful aura! Didn't he destroy his own cultivation? How did he recover it so quickly? Looking at the middle-aged figure in the air, the old man's complexion suddenly changed. He had received the news that Du Tingxian had crippled his own cultivation to enter the divine domain. He hadn't expected that Du Tingxian would become so strong so quickly. Although they were in the divine domain, he could still feel how powerful Du Tingxian was. "I've been waiting for you and haven't continued to break through. Since you're here, don't leave." As soon as he finished speaking, thunderbolts swept out from Du Tingxian's body. In the surrounding void, thunderclouds rolled and the wind surged. Even if you've recovered your cultivation, you're still far from it. As long as you're not eliminated, you'll be the laughingstock and stain of the school of vertical and horizontal. You and your father should have disappeared from this world a long time ago. The old man was gloomy and his eyes were cold. He was here to ensure that Du Tingxian was killed. "I had no intention of crossing swords with the school of vertical and horizontal. We've minded our own business, but you've provoked me time and time again. Back in Stone City, you used a black spear on me. Now, you even dare to touch my son. So, go to hell." Du Tingxian's handsome face was filled with coldness. He did not hide his murderous intent. With a wave of his hand, a terrifying aura suddenly erupted from his body. Rumble! In an instant, lightning flashed and thunder roared. Countless thunderbolts descended from the void with a vast destructive aura. "Kill Du Tingxian with all you've got," the old man shouted. Dozens of figures attacked at the same time. Meridian spirits, martial veins, and Dharma artifacts were all out. The light was dazzling and covered the sky. The surrounding void burned as if it was going to collapse. "You're far from enough. Even if I've recovered my cultivation, this is the space of the divine region. I'm also in the martial region. I'm enough to kill you useless soldiers." Du Tingxian was calm. With a clench of his hand, the thunderbolts intensified and destroyed everything in their path. With a low ear-piercing sound of thunder, everything was destroyed. "Ah, impossible. How can he be so strong? This is impossible. Save me." Suddenly, there were screams and wails. The terrifying thunderbolts destroyed all the martial veins and Dharma artifacts. Many disciples of the school of vertical and horizontal who had lost their life-saving talismans had their souls destroyed. Those who had life-saving talismans were taken away by them. "Die, you old man." Du Tingxian's figure strangely appeared beside the old man. With a shake of his arm, lightning covered his fist and dispersed the surrounding sea of fire. His fist landed directly on the chest of the old man, destroying his defense. With just one punch, the old man exploded into a bloody mist. The old man had already lost his life-saving talisman. Now that his soul was destroyed, it was too late for him to escape. In his despair, his primordial spirit turned into a bloody mist along with his physical body. Therefore, I've asked a few readers in the group to post the update time in the book review section. Hopefully, there won't be too many readers waiting for too long. I'm sure there will be some readers who didn't go to the book review section. I apologize for making everyone wait. Chapter 1632. Dozens of disciples from the school of vertical and horizontal were killed in an instant. It's about time. Let's choose a place to break through. I hope I can succeed, Du Tingxian muttered to himself as he looked forward. Ao Tong, you have waited for so long. Wait for me for a while longer. I will definitely go back to get you and your daughter. Blazing flames were burning on the vast barren mountain. Dozens of young men and women stood back to back. Their bodies were stained with blood and they were all covered in energy. They had activated their Dao weapons and talisman weapons. Some of them were wearing armor and were covered in mysterious runes. An exceptionally outstanding man with light red hair looked extraordinary. He was dressed in a tight suit and had a flaming cloak. He looked like the god of fire and had an invincible aura. But at this moment, surrounded by hundreds of people, these dozens of young men and women were in imminent danger. They were in a sorry state and their hair was disheveled. Even the invincible young man who seemed to be the leader of the group was suppressed. Just a small sacred flame sect. Kid, hand over the heavenly flame and I can spare your lives. A young man stood proudly and was incomparably powerful. He did not care about outsiders but was a little afraid of the leading man. He had a life-saving talisman in his glabella. If he died, nothing would happen. However, he would not be able to get the heavenly flame that he wanted. Half of you don't have any life-saving talismans. If you die, you will really die. Hand over the heavenly flame and I will not only spare your lives, but the school of vertical and horizontal will also protect your sacred flame sect in the future. Gong Sun Chi, fight me one-on-one if you dare. The leading man looked at the young man and said coldly, if you can defeat me, I will give you my red lotus hellfire. If you lose, I will take my people and leave. Do you dare? This man was none other than Lian Wushang from the Sacred Flame sect. Back then, he had severely injured Lin Weiqi in the Tianhuang mainland and angered Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu appeared and severely injured him. He even said that he was not one of the 13 heroes. But later on, other than the dead Dragon 9, the world still counted Lian Wushang as one of the 12 heroes. Say no more. Capture everyone and this kid will be obedient. Hearing Lian Wushang's words, an elder from the school of vertical and horizontal gloomily said. He was afraid that Gong Sun Chi wouldn't be able to win, which would only cause more trouble. One had to know that the red lotus karmic fire on Lian Wushang's body was extraordinary. Even the school of vertical and horizontal would definitely be tempted and would want to take it for themselves. This was enough to show how terrifying the red lotus karmic fire was. Although Gong Sun Chi could be ranked in the top 20 of his generation in the school of vertical and horizontal, the old man was still worried that Gong Sun Chi wouldn't be able to successfully take him down in the divine dominion with Lian Wushang's karmic fire. Try to capture them alive. The old man didn't wait for Gong Sun Chi to speak. He seemed to have quite a high status in the school of vertical and horizontal. As soon as he finished speaking, over 100 people in the area immediately attacked. Many blazing auras erupted and sealed off the void. Let's fight. Under Lian Wushang's gloomy expression, his aura became hotter and hotter. His eyes were filled with blazing flames, as if there were two vast seas of fire in them. His light red hair fluttered in the wind as he formed a seal with his hands. A strange light red flame rose from his palms, and the temperature of the flame fluctuated wildly. Red lotus heavenly fire, gather the heavenly fire spirit. Boom! Suddenly, the light red flame on Lian Wushang's body was accompanied by the whistling of runes. It gathered into a huge flame spirit that was hundreds of feet tall. It towered in the void like a mountain peak. The terrifying temperature caused the void around it to be filled with white fog, turning everything into nothingness. What a terrifying red lotus karmic fire. Boom! Seeing Lian Wushang's transformation, many people from the school of vertical and horizontal narrowed their eyes. That terrifying blazing aura made their souls wither. But the more it was like this, the more tempted they were. The school of vertical and horizontal cultivated the profound of fire. If they could obtain this red lotus karmic fire, they would be like tigers that had grown wings. Let's fight. Retreat with all you can. Lian Wushang shouted. His blazing aura fluctuated continuously, turning into rolling flames that swept out like a tidal wave. Walala! The terrifying aura and rolling flames instantly swept towards the disciples of the school of vertical and horizontal, wanting to burn everything. Capture this person alive. The old man, Gong Sun Chi, and the others immediately attacked Li Yen Wusheng. Rumble! Roar! Instantly, the void exploded, and the shadows of beasts roared. Energy surged into the sky. The disciples of the Sacred Flame sect were not weak. Being able to enter the deity plane meant that they were definitely talented. However, the disciples of the school of vertical and horizontal were stronger. Although they were in the deity plane and everyone was at the same level, they had an invisible advantage. Moreover, the school of vertical and horizontal outnumbered them by more than 10 times. The Sacred Flame sect could not resist at all. They were immediately trampled. Many of them were severely injured and vomited blood. Their meridians and souls were destroyed, and their dharma artifacts were sealed. If the school of vertical and horizontal did not want to capture them alive to threaten Li Yen Wusheng, they would not have been able to hold on. Senior brother Wusheng, retreat quickly. Don't bother about us. Some disciples shouted as they vomited blood. They knew that if Li Yen Wusheng wanted to escape with all his might, they would have a great chance. As your senior brother, how can I leave you all behind? Even if I die in battle, I will not leave any of you behind. Li Yen Wusheng shouted as he unleashed all his strength. With his own strength, he actually resisted the joint attack of 3 experts from the school of vertical and horizontal. At least you have some guts. A faint voice came from the void. A young man in purple clothes appeared. His gaze swept across the void and he said softly, "It's the school of vertical and horizontal again. Kill them all." As soon as he finished speaking, the young man in purple clothes formed a hand seal. Ancient runes seeped out from the void and connected with the deity plane. When these ancient runes appeared, the disciples of the school of vertical and horizontal who had life-saving talismans cracked in between their eyebrows. In the end, the talismans shattered and disappeared. My life-saving talisman is gone. What's going on? Du Xiaofu, he is the Demon King Du Xiaofu. This part of the void was in chaos. Exclamations could be heard. Some people recognized Du Xiaofu, while others were shocked that they had lost their life-saving talismans. Oh no, it's Du Xiaofu. Gong Sun Chi and the leading elder immediately looked at Du Xiaofu. Their eyes trembled violently. The news that the school of vertical and horizontal had received let them know how terrifying the Demon King Du Xiaofu was. Retreat! Quick! Immediately, Gong Sun Chi and the elder shouted and tried to escape. They knew that they could not fight against the Demon King Du Xiaofu. They were already scared. You can't escape. Go to hell. Du Xiaofu waved his hand, and the illusory saber formation flew out from his palm. Wind and thunder roared and turned into hundreds of saber rays that broke through the void. They were filled with a destructive aura. With Du Xiaofu's current cultivation and strength, his illusory saber formation had improved. With Gong Sun Chi's cultivation level, how could he resist it? The illusory saber formation contained the 9 palaces and 6 directions. It was extremely complicated. They could not even escape. Amidst the screams and chaos, hundreds of disciples and followers of the school of vertical and horizontal were turned into a bloody mist. Their blood dyed the mountain peak below red. Du Xiaofu took the Qianquan bags and many dharma weapons without hesitation. The disciples of the Sacred Flame sect were stunned in the void. Their faces were filled with shock as they witnessed the unbelievable scene. The powerful disciples of the school of vertical and horizontal turned and ran when they saw the Demon King Du Xiaofu. They did not dare to fight against him. Was he really a disciple of the school of vertical and horizontal? As for the hundreds of disciples of the school of vertical and horizontal, they could not even withstand a single blow. More importantly, their life-saving amulets were broken and they were killed. Tisk. Just as the disciples of the Sacred Flame sect were in a daze, ancient runes gathered and turned into runes. They fell between the eyebrows of the disciples of the Sacred Flame sect who had lost their life-saving amulets and turned into a new life-saving amulet. Life-saving amulet. I have another life-saving amulet. Oh my God, what is going on? One by one, the disciples of Sacred Flame sect were horrified. However, the disciples who had obtained the life-saving amulet were ecstatic. TSK. The illusory saber formation was withdrawn and Du Xiaofu left. He actually left without saying a word. It was the Demon King Du Xiaofu who saved us. He actually saved us. The disciples of the Sacred Flame sect were surprised that the Demon King Du Xiaofu left after saving them. Many of them were present at the Tianhuang mainland. The Demon King Du Xiaofu did not have a good impression of the Sacred Flame sect and had even severely injured Lian Wushang. Lian Wushang withdrew his heavenly fire spirit body and looked in the direction where Du Xiaofu had disappeared. After a while, he bowed deeply and said softly, "Thank you." Du Xiaofu had gone far away. It was a piece of cake for him to save the disciples of the Sacred Flame sect. Although Lian Wushang had severely injured Lin Weiqi and had also injured Lian Wushang, he did not have a good impression of him. However, Du Xiaofu saw that he had deep feelings for his fellow sect members and knew that such a person was definitely not an evil person. Moreover, the enemy of one's enemy was one's invisible ally. Moreover, Du Xiaofu did not want to let the school of vertical and horizontal off. Hence, he saved Lian Wushang and the others. He believed that in the future, when they met the school of vertical and horizontal in the divine territory, they would not be merciful if they had the chance. Whoosh whoosh, the vast mountains and towering trees covered the sky. Du Xiaofu had been on the road for several days. With his speed and the ancient remnant formations along the way, it was difficult to stop Du Xiaofu. Hence, the journey was extremely fast and they met more and more people along the way. Du Xiaofu stood in the air, gazing at the vast forest in front of him. It was boundless, and the sky was covered by a dense fog. It was a vast expanse of whiteness, and occasionally, there would be runes flickering. This place was very strange. In the divine territory, he did not have a life-saving talisman. Du Xiaofu did not dare to be careless. Hence, Du Xiaofu tried to enter and was surprised to find that the fog was vast. Not only could it cover the vision of a martial domain realm cultivator, but even the primordial spirit would be affected. The sky was white. Once one entered, it was like losing a compass in the sea. One would not be able to distinguish between north, south, east, and west. It was easy to be trapped. If there was any danger, it would definitely be a terrifying thing. On the other hand, the vision below was much clearer. Hence, Du Xiaofu's figure landed. He did not dare to enter the fog in the air. Chapter 1633. In the forest, there were towering trees everywhere. Dozens of people might not even be able to wrap their arms around them. They were thousands of feet tall and were extremely shocking. There were enormous tree vines that were like horned dragons coiling around the towering trees. This was an ancient forest that had existed for who knew how many years. Although the fog in the forest was much less, it was still white and misty. Runes flashed in the distance from time to time. What is this place? Du Xiaofu was in the forest and was sure that this forest was not normal. There was a cold and frightening aura in the air. If one's primordial spirit was not strong enough, one would not be able to detect it. What a strange place. Du Xiaofu was surprised to find that this primordial forest consumed a lot of celestial qi and primordial spirit power. However, he did not know how wide this forest was. If he wanted to take a detour, he did not know how much time it would take. After hesitating for a moment, Du Xiaofu gritted his teeth and decided to go deeper. However, he was careful and secretly activated his immortal Xian body. For several hours, Du Xiaofu carefully went deeper and deeper. He did not encounter any danger. After passing through this primordial forest, I should be able to get close to the center of the divine domain. Du Xiaofu murmured. From what Qi Yeshi had told him about the general situation of the god domain, he had been traveling at an extremely fast speed these past few days and hadn't wasted any time. After passing through this primeval forest, He should be able to reach the depths of the god domain. Du Xiaofu continued to go deeper. The deeper he went, the thicker the fog. Using his primordial spirit to spy on things also consumed his primordial spirit power more and more. It would also make him feel tired and weak. Fortunately, Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit power and celestial qi were both vast and vast. Therefore, he was not a big problem. However, he did not dare to squander it and was very careful. Du Xiaofu did not dare to get lost in this forest. Otherwise, he did not know how long he would have to wander around in this forest before he could get out. Whoosh! Suddenly, there was a fluctuation in the air. A white stream of light flashed and rushed toward Du Xiaofu. Boom! Du Xiaofu waved his sleeve and immediately flapped the sky-shaking wings. Golden light burst out, dazzling and bright, and dispersed the surrounding fog. Bang! A resplendent white beast appeared, revealing its sharp fangs. It was only the size of a rabbit and was immediately sent flying. Swish, swish, whooshing sounds immediately rang out from all directions, rushing towards Du Xiaofu from all directions. Crash! Du Xiaofu's body was suddenly surrounded by purple flames, which turned into a wave of blazing purple flames that swept out. It was as if the shadow of a purple flame demonic phoenix was flapping its wings. The purple flames engulfed the surrounding towering trees. However, the strange thing was that these towering trees did not seem to be ordinary trees. They were not destroyed immediately. The strange fog in the air was able to isolate and weaken the energy. Creak, creak. However, as the purple flames swept out, strange squeaking sounds could be heard from the surroundings. Those strange beasts were sent flying and then fled in panic, disappearing in an instant. Everything happened abruptly, but it disappeared in an instant, as if it had never happened. What strange thing is that? Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows. Even he had not seen clearly what kind of strange thing it was. It seemed to be a rat. It was very strange and unbelievably fast. It's dangerous. Be careful. Du Xiaofu became even more careful. This primeval forest was too strange. Bang bang. In the open space of the forest shrouded in fog, there were strange rocks all around. From the cracks of the strange rocks, many ferocious beasts leaped out from time to time. These beasts were dazzling white and looked ferocious. They had 4 limbs and sharp fangs. They were the size of rabbits and looked like rats. Although their small bodies were small, their auras were vigorous. They were densely packed and there were thousands of them. There were many corpses of the beasts around, covering the open space. The strange beasts climbed on the corpses of their companions and surrounded the 3 girls in the open space. They bared their fangs and their eyes were scarlet. They let out strange squeaking sounds that could affect the primordial spirit. The 3 girls stood back to back and looked around vigilantly. Their expressions were serious. Their clothes were stained with blood and shrouded in light. Their hair was a little messy and they seemed to be in a sorry state. The 2 girls were delicate and pretty. If they were in the outside world, they would definitely be extraordinary. Although they were not devastatingly beautiful, they would at least be famous. Among the 3, it was obvious that the leader was a girl. Her skin was white and there was a hint of pink in her snow-white skin. It was as if water could be wrung out of her skin. She was beautiful and moving. Miss, these cloud-swallowing wolf shrews are too scary. What should we do? A delicate girl's face turned pale. In this primeval forest, they could not escape. These strange cloud-swallowing wolf shrews were endless. They did not know how many were left. Protect yourselves. Fight and retreat. The leader's eyes were like water, as if she did not eat the food of mortals. The corners of her mouth curled up slightly, but her eyes were filled with a mysterious radiance. It was ethereal and gorgeous like fireworks. Squeak, squeak. The cloud-swallowing wolf shrews launched their next wave of attacks. The strange squeaking sounds resounded in the void as they pounced in all directions. These cloud-swallowing wolf shrews' mouths could protrude sharp light blades that could cut through the void. Those deep fangs could easily bite through a person's defense and bite a bloody hole in their body. There are too many of these evil beasts. We can't kill them all. We are in big trouble. The 2 delicate girls shouted and attacked with all their might. They even used their pulse spirits and martial veins. The two girls' pulse spirits were resplendent butterflies that could tear through the void with a flap of their wings. They were very powerful and filled with pressure. But at this moment, the two girls were attacking with all their might, but they were still unable to kill a bloody path out of the encirclement of thousands of cloud-swallowing wolf shrews. Moreover, this primeval forest was filled with these strange demonic beasts. There was no way to escape. Bang bang! The two girls attacked with all their might and shattered many of the cloud-swallowing wolf shrews into a bloody mist. Those demonic beasts that were close to them were shattered until their skin and flesh were torn apart. But they couldn't withstand the size of the demonic beasts. Their defense became more and more strenuous. There were already demonic beasts that were tearing at their defense. It was very strange that they could devour their celestial chi. The leading girl was also attacking with all her might. She had a cloud sleeve treasure in her hand that was very powerful. When she waved it, purple mist filled the air with the sound of wind and thunder. Although she was surrounded by the cloud-swallowing wolf shrews and her expression was slightly serious, she didn't panic at all. With a sweep of her cloud sleeve, the cloud-swallowing wolf shrews around her were shattered into a bloody mist. But they didn't know how long they had been fighting. In this primeval forest, even moving normally consumed a lot of celestial chi and primordial spirit power, let alone fighting fiercely. These cloud-swallowing wolf shrews were not affected at all. At this moment, the three girls were also finding it more and more strenuous. Gradually, they couldn't hold on, and their faces became pale. Are we really going to die here and start all over again? A delicate girl said. Although her butterfly pulse spirit had turned into a true spirit, it was still heavily injured at this moment, causing her to vomit blood. I'm just afraid that these cloud-swallowing wolf shrews will devour our bodies. In the end, we can only rely on our life-saving talismans to escape from our primordial spirits. The leading girl said. She was using all her strength to protect the two girls beside her. So disgusting. Hearing the leading girl's words, the two delicate girls immediately felt nauseous. Thinking about how these ferocious demonic beasts would eat their bodies, swim around their smooth bodies, and devour their flesh and blood, they couldn't help but want to vomit. Squeak. Suddenly, an extremely special squeaking sound came from the void. It was much sharper than the strange squeaking of the cloud-swallowing wolf shrews, and could penetrate through space. Hearing this sound, the cloud-swallowing wolf shrews that were pouncing towards them immediately stopped and looked at the misty void. Whoosh whoosh. Then, the cloud-swallowing wolf shrews immediately retreating into the craggy rock crevice, disappearing at an extremely fast speed. Why are they all leaving? The cloud-swallowing wolf shrews retreated, causing the three girls to be surprised. Then, the two delicate girls directly sat down on the rocks behind them that seemed to be relatively clean. Their swords were stabbed into the ground as support, and they didn't care about their appearances. They were constantly panting, clearly exhausted to the extreme. They had used up all their energy. Take the pills. We can't stay here for long. The leading girl said, handing the pills to the two girls. She also stuffed a few pills filled with rich energy into her pale mouth. She circulated her cultivation method to speed up her recovery. Otherwise, it would be a huge crisis in this primordial forest. Suddenly, the leading girl who had just taken the pills immediately looked towards the depths of the clouds. Her beautiful eyes were filled with vigilance and sharpness. She shouted, "Who is it? No need to hide. Could it be that those strange rats have returned?" The two girls who had just sat down and panted immediately stood up, looking nervous. "Don't be nervous. I only heard the sound and came here. It's not a demonic beast." The voice came out from the depths of the mountain forest in the vast fog. A figure in purple gradually walked out. He was 26 or 27 years old, and his face was resolute and determined. This young man walked out, imperceptibly exuding a very comfortable feeling. His face was even more charming if one looked closely. His eyes were clear and deep. Seeing the young man in front of them appear, the two delicate girls breathed a sigh of relief. It was only one person. The girl on the left even said softly, "You scared me to death." I thought that the terrifying cloud-swallowing wolf shrews had returned. The other girl said, I thought that guy had chased after us again. He is even more terrifying than these cloud-swallowing wolf shrews. Chapter 1634. But at this moment, looking at Du Xiaofu, the leading lady's eyes trembled violently as a look of surprise appeared on her face. Then, the leading lady's expression became introverted, but she was secretly nervous and vigilant. But when she looked at Du Xiaofu, a complicated look appeared in her eyes. Who are you? The beautiful lady on the left asked Du Xiaofu. Sensing that this man didn't have any dangerous aura, her expression relaxed quite a bit. You don't recognize me? Du Xiaofu's eyes twitched as he looked at the lady in front of him. He then smiled and said, Battle God, the invincible battle god. Who would have such a name? The other beautiful lady obviously didn't believe him as she looked at Du Xiaofu suspiciously. I'm really the invincible battle god. Du Xiaofu said with certainty. Okay, let's continue. The two ladies beside the leading lady said, as if they didn't want to be too close to Du Xiaofu. Miss, but we've been lost for a few days already. We don't know how to leave this strange place. If we continue, we'll be lost. One of the beautiful ladies frowned. The three of them had been lost in this strange place for a few days already. No matter how hard they tried, they couldn't get out. Also, the cloud-devouring wolf shrew would appear from time to time. Look for it slowly, we can't stay here forever. The leading lady frowned slightly. She also couldn't find an effective way. Being trapped in the misty forest, she was helpless. Are you guys also trapped? Du Xiaofu asked. He had also been trapped for a day. The deeper he went into this ancient forest, the more he felt like he was in a vast ocean. He couldn't even differentiate between north, south, east, and west. In the entire strange forest, even sunlight couldn't be seen. It was impossible to tell the direction. You're also trapped here, right? This place is too strange, it's impossible to get out. The delicate and pretty girl on the left looked at Du Xiaofu and sized him up. She seemed to be younger than the other girl. She curiously asked, But aren't you the invincible battle god? Why can't you leave now? I'm invincible. That has nothing to do with this strange forest. Du Xiaofu pursed his lips and looked around. Looking at the dense corpses of the demonic beasts on the ground, he asked, What are these things? Du Xiaofu had encountered these strange demonic beasts several times, but he didn't recognize them. Even the heavenly spirit record didn't have any records of them. It was very strange. The attacking power of these demonic beasts was not particularly terrifying, but there were too many of them. They were silent in this strange forest, and their speed was unbelievably fast. They were extremely difficult to deal with. The woman in the lead hesitated for a moment before explaining to Du Xiaofu, This is a cloud-swallowing wolf shrew. It comes from ancient times and is a remnant of ancient monsters. You shouldn't be able to see it in the outside world. I've once read about it in an unofficial history book. They aren't ferocious, but once their territory is invaded, they will violently attack. They won't stop until they're dead. These remnant ancient monsters seem to be affected by something in the divine domain. Those below the beast domain realm basically don't have high intelligence and can't transform. These things are really troublesome. They probably think this strange forest is their territory. Du Xiaofu frowned. In this strange forest, these cloud-swallowing wolf shrews were really an extremely troublesome existence. Suddenly, Du Xiaofu's eyes twitched. His aura immediately surged. Zi activated the immortal Xian body, and purple arcs of lightning secretly overflowed. Squeak, squeak. All of a sudden, strange squeaking noises rang out from the void again. They were densely packed and came from all directions. Not good, why are they here again? The two pretty women's faces immediately turned pale. The expression of the woman in the lead also changed abruptly. Squeak, squeak. The ear-piercing squeaks that affected the primordial spirit whistled in all directions. The towering trees swayed, the ground shook, and light surged out from the cracks of the strange rocks in the surroundings. Walala? Then, under the shocked and vigilant gazes of the four, countless cloud-swallowing wolf shrews swarmed in from all directions. On the cliff, on the towering trees, on the open ground, and on the corpses of the cloud-swallowing wolf shrews in the surroundings. At this moment, the cloud-swallowing wolf shrews were crawling everywhere. Their fangs were sharp, and their eyes were scarlet red. Their bodies were filled with white light, and they seemed to be able to merge with the vast white fog. Why are there so many of them? The younger pretty woman's face had already turned pale. There were so many cloud-swallowing wolf shrews, and there were more than 10 times more than before. They were so densely packed that it was terrifying. The body of the beautiful woman in the lead was filled with light. She held a cloud sleeve treasure in her hand. Looking at the densely packed cloud-swallowing wolf shrews in the surroundings, her expression was solemn. But then her gaze fell on Du Xiaofu intentionally or unintentionally. There are really so many of them. At this moment, the densely packed cloud-swallowing wolf shrews made Du Xiaofu frown. There was no way to kill them all. It would be very easy to exhaust them. Then, Du Xiaofu looked at the woman in the lead. He seemed to have a familiar feeling. In the end, his gaze fell on the cloud sleeve treasure in the woman's hand. His eyes lit up. That was definitely a precious treasure. Compared to the Heavenly Dragon cover, Taihang Mountain, and other semi-sage tools, it was definitely not inferior in terms of pressure. Is there any way? Seeing Du Xiaofu staring at the treasure in her hand, the beautiful woman couldn't help but secretly clench her fists a little. She knew that this guy's reputation had never been good. She had heard of him snatching treasures more than once or twice. Now that the Demon King didn't recognize her, she also pretended that she didn't know him. There is no way. We can think of a way to avoid them. Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows. There were too many of these cloud-swallowing wolf shrews. There was no point in killing them all. Moreover, it would cause him to exhaust too much energy. Retreating was the wisest choice. If you want to run, then run. Don't make it sound so elegant. Didn't you say that you can't win? The younger woman fiercely glared at Du Xiaofu. She slightly pouted her pale lips and said, "One look and I can tell that you are bragging. I hate men like you the most. If you don't fight, you won't lose. If you don't lose, you won't win. Don't you understand?" Du Xiaofu glared at the woman and coughed twice. "You are still so stubborn. Let's see what you can do later. These cloud-swallowing wolf shrews are extremely difficult to deal with." The beautiful woman rolled her eyes at Du Xiaofu. "Be careful. Be vigilant." The older woman also secretly rolled her eyes at Du Xiaofu. Then, she reminded the woman beside her to be prepared. Squeak, squeak. An exceptionally sharp squeak rang out. The cloud-swallowing wolf shrews in the surroundings immediately raised their heads and howled. The sound was ear-piercing, and their eyes became more and more dazzling. Their bodies were covered with runes, and then, they charged towards Du Xiaofu and the three women. "Don't let them come close." The leading woman spoke. She activated the cloud sleeve treasure in her hand, enveloping a large area of space in order to block those cloud-swallowing wolf shrews. The other two women immediately acted as well. Many of the cloud-swallowing wolf shrews exploded in the sound of energy. Squeak, squeak. Du Xiaofu waved his sleeve. Purple flames surged in the surroundings. The scorching temperature incinerated everything. Even the air was incinerated into nothingness. The approaching cloud-swallowing wolf shrews were all destroyed into nothingness. Numerous cloud-swallowing wolf shrews screamed miserably as they were incinerated in the purple flames. In an instant, they were reduced to nothingness. The two beautiful women were shocked and surprised. However, at this moment, there were still countless cloud-swallowing wolf shrews charging towards Du Xiaofu. They carried a strong aura and were not afraid of death. From the surrounding forest, from the cracks in the strange rocks, from the towering trees, and even from the cracks in the ground, more and more cloud-swallowing wolf shrews began to appear. They covered the sky and covered the earth. The degree of terror was beyond one's imagination. It made one's heart tremble and one's hair stand on end. "Ah, they are coming out from the ground." The two beautiful women began to panic. They were in a mess. From the towering trees in the surroundings, there were still countless cloud-swallowing wolf shrews diving down from the sky. This was simply a disaster. There was no way to kill them. If one was trapped, there was no way to escape. Why are there so many of them? The beautiful woman was also shocked. Although she had frequently encountered these cloud-swallowing wolf shrews a few days ago, and they were also densely packed, it was definitely not like now. At this moment, the sky and the ground were densely packed with cloud-swallowing wolf shrews. This was too terrifying. They could even exhaust people to death. Bang, bang, bang. The three women were already using all their strength to resist, and low explosive sounds continuously exploded. Du Xiaofu's entire body was wrapped in purple flames, and he was currently unharmed. Although these cloud-swallowing wolf shrews were densely packed and strange, it was not easy for them to truly do anything to Du Xiaofu. Squeak, squeak. An exceptionally sharp squeaking sound once again resounded through the sky. The ground began to loosen, revealing cracks. Rumble. Following that, a dozen or so cloud-swallowing wolf shrews the size of tigers appeared from the surroundings. They were dozens to hundreds of times larger than normal cloud-swallowing wolf shrews. These dozen or so cloud-swallowing wolf shrews were incomparably sturdy. Their bodies were covered in resplendent runes, and they erupted with a terrifying aura that could distort the surrounding space. The hairs on their bodies stood on end like hedgehogs, and they were incomparably sharp, adding to their ferocity. What a powerful aura! Are these shrew kings? The two beautiful women also felt the fierce aura on the bodies of the dozen or so exceptionally sturdy cloud-swallowing wolf shrews. That sharp hissing sound already caused their primordial spirits to feel a piercing pain. It was definitely abnormally terrifying. Squeak, squeak. When the dozen or so exceptionally large and fierce cloud-swallowing wolf shrews appeared, the countless cloud-swallowing wolf shrews in the surroundings became even more violent. They even pounced towards the four of them without any fear of death. Whoosh whoosh. As for the dozen or so large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews, they did not stay idle and immediately charged towards the four of them. Swish. 3 large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews charged into the purple flames around Du Xiaofu's body. They were actually able to withstand the terrifying temperature of the purple flames. Squeak, squeak. These large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews released the same vast mist and runes as the strange primeval forest. They were able to isolate the temperature of the purple flames as they tore at Du Xiaofu with lightning speed. Their sharp, cold fangs seemed to be able to tear through everything. Chapter 1635. Bang, bang, bang. Du Xiaofu's mind stirred, and 3 purple flame pillars shot out from the purple flames around his body. In a split second, they directly engulfed the 3 large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews. Poochie. With 3 muffled sounds, the 3 large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews were sent flying, crashing into the rocks, shattering many of the huge rocks into dust. They spat out dark red blood, but immediately crawled out, looking at Du Xiaofu with fear. So strong. At this moment, the one who was surprised was Du Xiaofu. Although he did not use his full strength just now, the power just now was enough to kill an ordinary martial domain realm cultivator. However, the 3 large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews did not seem to be in much danger, which made Du Xiaofu somewhat surprised. These cloud-swallowing wolf shrews were really difficult to deal with, and their defense was also very strong. Squeak, squeak. The other 10 or so large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews all pounced towards the other 3 women. Walala! The moving woman waved the cloud sleeve treasure in her hand. Divine light shone resplendently and its power was impressive. It enveloped the surrounding space and protected the 2 women beside her. However, she was already in a bit of a mess. Coupled with the fact that she was already on the verge of exhaustion, if the moving woman did not have the cloud sleeve treasure in her hand, she would not have been able to hold on. The 2 delicate and pretty girls were in an even more sorry state. They waved the treasured swords in their hands and killed the countless cloud-swallowing wolf shrews around them. The 10 or so large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews had already been blocked by the alluring woman alone. However, the endless number of cloud-swallowing wolf shrews was not something that the 2 delicate and pretty women could withstand. Du Xiaofu's mind spied on his surroundings. The current situation was very abnormal. These cloud-swallowing wolf shrews seemed to be rioting, as if their entire nest was on the move. He had never seen these strange and troublesome large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews before. Squeak, squeak. The sharp piercing sound rang out once again. Du Xiaofu's gaze immediately turned to the pile of strange rocks in front of him. Du Xiaofu looked over. At this moment, a cloud-swallowing wolf shrew the size of a small water buffalo had quietly appeared. This was the largest cloud-swallowing wolf shrew. Its entire body was pure white and crystal clear. Its silver-white fur stood upright like a hedgehog, but its eyes were a little scarlet. However, the aura of this silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew was much more ferocious and terrifying than the dozen large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews. That battle god is undefeatable. Aren't you going all out now? Otherwise, we'll all be in big trouble. We have life-saving talismans, but you don't. The alluring woman said to Du Xiaofu, using the cloud sleeve treasure in her hand to resist with all her might. Creak, creak, creak. At this moment, the three large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews that had been sent flying by Du Xiaofu continued to charge towards Du Xiaofu without fear of death after hearing the hiss of the largest silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew. Okay, as you wish. I'm the battle god, undefeatable. Just as the three large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews bared their fangs and charged towards him, the purple flames around Du Xiaofu's body instantly changed. A purple lightning burst out from his body, turning into 3 lightning bolts that tore through the air. The 3 purple lightning bolts pierced through the void, revealing pitch-black cracks in the void and carrying a murderous aura. The moment that terrifying aura filled the air, the scarlet eyes of the 3 large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews revealed an instinctive fear. Bang, bang, bang! The 3 lightning bolts exploded, and purple lightning arcs surged in the void. Then, the 3 large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews that were charging towards Du Xiaofu were directly killed by the 3 purple lightning bolts. Crackle! Purple lightning bolts wrapped around his body, and purple lightning runes surged around him. Wherever Du Xiaofu's figure passed, the cloud-swallowing wolf shrews in the surroundings would directly explode and be destroyed by the purple lightning. Wow, so he's so powerful. The 2 delicate and pretty girls also felt this scene and were instantly astonished. But then, the younger girl saw that Du Xiaofu seemed to be leaping away and exclaimed, "Is he trying to escape by himself? This is too shameful." Du Xiaofu's figure flashed across the sky and appeared on the pile of strange rocks. Squeak, squeak. At this moment, the 10 large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews that were originally blocked by the beautiful girl seemed to have sensed something. They immediately squeaked and gave up on the beautiful girl without hesitation. At the same time, they turned into a dozen white bolts, carrying a terrifying aura, and charged towards Du Xiaofu from behind with full force. Du Xiaofu didn't look back. At this moment, he just shook his right arm and opened his 5 fingers. Purple lightning bolts filled his hand, and purple lightning runes intertwined with each other. The bright lightning bolts were like a purple sun, and finally turned into a thunderstorm, enveloping the 10 large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews. Buzz, buzz. The 10 large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews weren't killed, but they were struck by lightning and immediately fell from the sky, vomiting blood at the same time. Squeak, squeak. But at this moment, a bright silver light exploded. The largest silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew on the pile of strange rocks moved. Bright silver light erupted from its body, and as if it had turned into a pure white moon, it even gave off a sacred feeling. Enveloped by runes and mist, the cloud-swallowing wolf shrew emitted a divine light. A terrifying aura wasn't suppressed in the divine domain, and directly reached the peak of the sealed beast realm. It charged towards Du Xiaofu with lightning speed. Swish, swish. The silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew spat out bright white light from its mouth, which turned into countless sharp needles of light that could pierce through the void and destroy everything. The peak of the sealed beast realm. That must be the king of the cloud-swallowing wolf shrew. These ancient demon beasts aren't suppressed in the divine domain. The slightly older delicate and pretty girl cried out in alarm. That largest silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew was too powerful and terrifying. Boom! Du Xiaofu stepped into the air, his body wrapped in lightning. Purple arcs of lightning circled around him, making him appear even more extraordinary and majestic. The purple arcs of lightning were like rainbows, sweeping in all directions. Lightning flashed and thunder roared, distorting the void, accompanied by a vast and domineering aura of execution. Squeak! The silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew seemed to have sensed something at this moment. Its body trembled, and fear appeared in its eyes. That terrifying aura of execution was too terrifying. It was the might of a supreme being, and it wanted to immediately retreat. But it was all too late. The bright purple lightning had already enveloped the silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew. The purple lightning talisman runes rushed down, destroying the mist and light around its body, and directly smashing its body down. So powerful, the two girls in the distance were dumbfounded, and their mouths were dry. Bang bang bang. The silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew's body crashed into the pile of rocks, shattering many of them and spitting out blood. Whoosh! But the silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew was very cunning. It then took advantage of the momentum to explode with white light, releasing a vast mist, as if it wanted to merge with the space. It actually directly entered the ground, wanting to escape immediately, and did not dare to stay any longer. Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows and spied with his mind. Not even the slightest movement could escape his detection. He had long since made preparations, so how could he possibly allow the largest cloud-swallowing wolf shrew to escape? Stay here. Du Xiaofu's figure appeared, and the lightning covered the sky and exploded, raising the surrounding area to the ground. The silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew was directly blasted out of the ground. Chi-la! At the same time, Du Xiaofu's figure swept over like lightning. It was impossible for anyone at the same level to compare with the speed of the rock. It was like a series of afterimages that merged with the space, like a human-shaped rock spreading its wings to the sky. He stretched out one hand, and a lightning claw distorted the void, grabbing the silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew's body like lightning, imprisoning the surrounding void. Squeak squeak. At this moment, the silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew's body could no longer move an inch. It hissed in a strange voice, and the sound was ear-piercing, causing the countless cloud-swallowing wolf shrews below to riot. Squeak squeak. Immediately, under the leadership of more than 10 large cloud-swallowing wolf shrews, the fearless wolf shrews that blotted out the sky and covered the earth all soared into the sky, directly besieging Du Xiaofu from the sky and the ground. No more wolf shrews attacked the three girls. At this moment, the countless cloud-swallowing wolf shrews that blotted out the sky and covered the earth like locusts, screeching in a strange voice, all of them pounced towards Du Xiaofu from the sky and the ground. The surrounding void was filled with countless terrifying auras that shook this strange ancient forest. Countless scarlet eyes shot out, and sharp fangs were revealed. This scene made the three girls suck in a breath of cold air. How terrifying was that? Bang bang bang! But at this moment, Du Xiaofu was surrounded by purple electric arcs, and all the cloud-swallowing wolf shrews that approached were directly blasted down, unable to get close to Du Xiaofu at all. Squeak squeak! The silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew was imprisoned, and its blood essence seemed to be burning all over its body. Its power rose sharply, and the white fog and mysterious talisman patterns were shining brightly. It used its extreme strength to try to escape. But it was all too late. It was unable to break free at all. Its scarlet eyes revealed fear, and a voice said, "Human, let me go, and we will mind our own business. I will not deal with you anymore." "It's too late," Du Xiaofu spoke. He did not believe in the cloud-swallowing wolf shrews. Once they escaped to the ground, they would be like dragons in the sea, and it would be difficult to deal with them again. Boom! When the voice was heard, a supreme pressure spread out from Du Xiaofu's palm, accompanied by flashes of lightning and roars of thunder. There were silver-yellow electric arcs that suddenly erupted, and the roars of dragons and tigers, and the roars of lions and phoenixes were heard. A terrifying aura burst out, and the sound made the countless cloud-swallowing wolf shrews tremble in fear. Their attacks also stopped. At the same time, Du Xiaofu's palm was covered with a mysterious seal, and the shadow of a golden-winged rock appeared. It was shining with golden light, and silver-yellow electric arcs flickered. A monstrous pressure spread out from it. When this monstrous pressure descended, it contained a kind of pressure that all beasts could not resist. This kind of pressure came from the souls of all beasts, and from within their bloodlines. Squeak, squeak. At this instant, the cloud-swallowing wolves and shrews that covered the heavens and the earth in the surroundings let out strange howls. Their beast souls trembled violently while their scarlet-red eyes revealed shock, and they prostrated themselves on the ground and didn't dare attack any longer. The silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew was filled with fear at this moment. That terrifying pressure made its beast soul tremble. That was the descent of a supreme beast. Its entire body was trembling, and it was completely suppressed. Blood Soul Seal. Amidst the cries of the dragons, phoenixes, lions, and tigers, Du Xiaofu's hand seal fell directly between the silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew's eyebrows. Accompanied by the supreme beast's pressure, it turned into a ball of golden light. At the same time, Du Xiaofu's hand seals formed one after another. Runes lingered on his body, and rays of extremely strange and mysterious light fell between the silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew's eyebrows one after another. Gradually, the silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew that was struggling with all its might closed its scarlet eyes, and the hair on its body began to shrink. At this moment, even the countless cloud-swallowing wolf shrews in the surroundings began to quiet down, and they all began to prostrate themselves meekly in the surroundings. Beast Control Technique. In just a moment, Du Xiaofu's last hand seal formed, and a dazzling golden light swept into the silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew's eyebrows like lightning. In the next second, the silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew's tightly shut eyes opened again. The scarlet color in its eyes had disappeared, and it became extremely docile. Its body prostrated, and the moonlight fluctuated, and the fog rippled. It said respectfully, "Greetings, master." Squeak, squeak. At the same time, countless cloud-swallowing wolf shrews in the surroundings began to squeak, and they were also surrendering. Coo coo. In the distance, the two delicate and pretty girls were already dumbfounded. They were flabbergasted, and they swallowed their saliva. The scene in front of them had already completely shocked them. The depths of the charming girl's eyes were also surging with waves at this moment. Fortunately, it worked. In the air, Du Xiaofu took a deep breath and heaved a sigh of relief. Du Xiaofu was originally a little worried that his beast control technique would be useless against these ancient demon beasts. At this moment, it seemed that he was overly worried. He could already control the wolf shrew. Chapter 1636. Can you bring me out of this forest? Du Xiaofu asked the cloud-swallowing wolf shrew. He had also lost his way in this ancient forest. Therefore, Du Xiaofu did not intend to let the silver cloud-swallowing wolf shrew go. He wanted to use this opportunity to walk out of this ancient forest. These cloud-swallowing wolf shrews would definitely not get lost. This misty cloud forest is our territory. There are many dangers inside, but I can bring you out safely. The silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf, Swan Ni, said respectfully. Phew, Du Xiaofu heaved a sigh of relief. Then he ordered the silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew to make the densely packed cloud-swallowing wolf shrews leave. He also found out that the silver-white cloud-swallowing wolf shrew was indeed the king of this nest of cloud-swallowing wolf shrews. In this divine domain, ancient demon beasts below the beast domain realm didn't have any intelligence. They couldn't even transform. However, this silver wolf shrew had already reached the peak of beast domain realm. In the end, it transformed into a woman wearing a silver dress. She looked very young and wasn't very tall. However, her appearance wasn't as ferocious as the shrew's original form. Although she wasn't very attractive, at least she looked very comfortable. However, when she spoke, her mouth revealed 2 rat teeth. From now on, I'll call you Yunshi, Du Xiaofu said. Then, he landed beside the attractive woman and the other 2 girls and said, I'm the invincible war god. I didn't lie to you, right? We can leave now. You're actually so strong. The younger girl swallowed a mouthful of saliva and stared blankly at Du Xiaofu. She still felt like she was sucking in a breath of cold air. Of course I'm very strong. Du Xiaofu patted his chest. He was confident that he was very strong. He asked the three girls, I still don't know who you are. What's your name? The younger girl opened her mouth but was interrupted by the attractive woman. She said to Du Xiaofu, we're from a small place in Kyushu. Even if I tell you, you might not know. They're my personal maids. Their names are Big Lon and Little Lon. My surname is Su. Misu. Du Xiaofu nodded his head. The older and prettier girl should be Big Lon, and the younger girl was naturally Xiao Lon. The two girls beside him had the talent to enter the divine domain. This Su girl's talent was definitely not ordinary. Du Xiaofu naturally did not believe that she came from a small place. However, Du Xiaofu wasn't too suspicious of the three women. He felt that they didn't have any ill intentions towards him. Instead, he asked curiously, why are you trapped here? The woman surnamed Su said to Du Xiaofu, we've been trapped in this strange forest for several days and haven't been able to get out. It's all because of that terrifying guy. He's been haunting us all this time, and his strength is so terrifying. Otherwise, we wouldn't have entered this place. Xiao Lan was filled with hatred as she pouted. Are you being hunted down? Don't worry, the next time I meet that person, I'll definitely avenge you, Du Xiaofu said with a smile. I know you're very strong, but I have to tell you, that guy is probably even stronger than you. He's a Nirvana supremacy. Xiaolan knew that Du Xiaofu was very strong, but her expression soon changed to one of shock. Staring at Du Xiaofu, she exclaimed in a trembling voice, you were able to deal with a peak-sealed domain realm cloud-devouring wolf shrew, and you weren't affected by the suppression of your strength in the god domain. Don't tell me you're also a Nirvana paragon. I'm not. I just have some methods that allow me to raise my cultivation base in this divine domain. Du Xiaofu shook his head. He didn't admit to it, lest he complicate things. Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, the woman surnamed Su inwardly rolled her eyes at Du Xiaofu, but didn't say anything. She stuffed a few medicinal pills into her mouth and then gave some to Xiao Lan and Xiao Lan. Xiao Lan swallowed the medicinal pills and didn't doubt Du Xiaofu's words. At the same time, she said to Du Xiaofu, that's right, you don't look like a Nirvana supremacy. I saw that terrifying guy with 6 divine rings above his head. That kind of power is too frightening. He can cause heaven and earth phenomena. Although you were very strong just now, you didn't seem that terrifying. That guy is so powerful. Du Xiaofu was curious about the matter of Xiao Lan and the others encountering a Nirvana supremacy. From her words, he guessed that the 6 divine rings should be a lesser Nirvana supremacy. A Nirvana supremacy must have encountered a difficult opponent and was in great danger. He asked, which Nirvana supremacy did you encounter? If I encounter him in the future, I'll have to avoid him. Aren't you invincible? Why do you have to avoid him? Xiao Lan giggled, and her attitude towards Du Xiaofu was much better. She said, I don't know what his name is, but he's wearing a white battle robe and looks extraordinary. He's very handsome, but he's too annoying. Oh right, he has 8 beautiful maids following him, and they're all very powerful. We're not his match. Great Snow Mountain's descendant Lian Qingrong. Du Xiaofu didn't even need to think to know who that guy was. It was the descendant of the snowy mountain, Lian Qingrong. Last time, she was scared away by the divine soul-devouring ants. It seemed like she should have gotten rid of those terrifying troubles. That guy is too terrifying. He always wanted our family's young miss to be his maid. He's very hateful. He chased us into this strange forest and trapped us for many days. Xiao Lan was still hateful. That guy seems to have a hobby of taking in maids. Du Xiaofu's eyes slightly moved. Last time, Lian Qingrong wanted to take Su Muxin as her maid. That debt would be settled sooner or later in the future. Now that we're in this strange forest, there's no way out. That guy is too strong. We couldn't do anything to him with just 8 maidservants. Then, a beautiful woman suddenly appeared. She's so beautiful, she's like a fairy goddess of this world. That guy in white immediately stopped attacking us. He wanted to take that fairy goddess as his maidservant. Xiao Lan paused for a moment, as if she was still admiring that girl's temperament. She said, "That beautiful girl's strength was also very terrifying. She had an ancient bow that could pierce through the void. That guy in white battle robe used the strength of a supremacy. It was too terrifying. But I didn't expect that fairy goddess was also a supremacy. Their battle was so terrifying. It was as if they were going to destroy the heaven and earth. They destroyed a large area of the forest and fought until the sky turned dark. But in the end, it seemed like the fairy goddess was slightly inferior in terms of cultivation. She could only retreat in defeat. That hateful guy in white battle robe chased after her. Only then were we able to escape," Xiaolon said. There was still a lingering fear in her heart. If it wasn't for that fairy goddess appearing midway, she and her family's young miss wouldn't have been able to escape. "Quickly tell me, the fairy goddess you spoke of, what does she look like? Where did she go?" Suddenly, Du Xiaofu's figure appeared in front of Xiaolan like lightning. He tightly grabbed Xiaolan's arm. His expression was extremely serious. The golden light in his eyes was fiercely trembling. "You're hurting me." Xiaolan was startled, then she opened her mouth to shout. Her arm was in pain from Du Xiaofu's grip. "I'm sorry, I was too nervous. Quickly tell me." Du Xiaofu came back to his senses and let go of Xiaolan. However, his expression was extremely serious. "That girl's age is about the same as mine. However, she's much more beautiful than me. She's wearing a tight green dress. She's a Nirvana sovereign. Her strength is extremely terrifying. That guy in white battle robe couldn't do much to her." The girl with the surname Su said. She already had a devastatingly beautiful appearance. However, when compared to the girl in tight green dress, she felt that she was overshadowed and couldn't be compared to her. "Lian Qingrong, I'm not done with you," Du Xiaofu shouted. At this moment, he was certain that the guy in white battle robe, other than the descendant of the Great Snow Mountain, Lian Qingrong, there was no one else. As for the girl holding the ancient bow and wearing tight green dress, she was definitely Dongli Qingqing. She was his woman. At this moment, how could Du Xiaofu not be furious? Lian Qingrong had her eyes on Su Muxin from the start. At this moment, she was chasing after Dongli Qingqing. Both of them were his women. Could it be that you know that terrifying fellow? At this moment, Xiaolan could more or less tell that the war god in front of her seemed to know that terrifying Nirvana sovereign. Moreover, he seemed to know those two terrifying Nirvana sovereigns. "Not only do I know him," Du Xiaofu's eyes revealed a chilling intent. "Master, I've seen the person they're talking about 3 days ago." Suddenly, Yun Mu opened her mouth and said to Du Xiaofu. Chapter 1637. Time runes flickered in the vast white fog, making it increasingly difficult to see clearly. It was already very difficult to see clearly within a distance of tens of meters. The surrounding space also consumed more and more primordial spirit and mystical chi power. That kind of feeling was like an ordinary person in the depths of an extremely high plateau. Walking a little further would cause one to gasp for breath. If one were to fight in such a situation, one would definitely be greatly affected. A huge deep canyon appeared. On both sides of the mountain peaks were towering trees, so tall that one could not see the top. The rocks and huge tree trunks were covered with ancient tree vines that were like giant pythons entrenched. This was an ancient canyon. The fog inside was so dense that one could not see clearly. Time runes flickered, as if they could still be spied on through force. Releasing one's mind, one could at most sense movements within a range of tens of meters. In front of a super expert, this distance was simply enough to kill with one strike. Fortunately, the cultivation and strength of the people in the divine domain were about the same. However, there were ancient demonic beasts whose cultivation and strength were not suppressed everywhere. Such a place was undoubtedly extremely dangerous, and no one dared to enter at all. However, at this moment, Du Xiaofu, the woman surnamed Su, Yun Mu, Big Lan and Little Lan appeared here. Looking at the deep canyon, Du Xiaofu also frowned. From Yun Mu, Du Xiaofu learned that a few days ago, The woman who might be Dongli Qingqing and the successor of the great snow mountain, Lian Qingrong, had passed through this forest with her 8 maidservants and killed many cloud-swallowing wolf shrews. This also aroused Yun Mu's anger. He led a large number of cloud-swallowing wolf shrews to chase after them. However, he was unable to stop Lian Qingrong and Dongli Qingqing along the way. Instead, many cloud-swallowing wolf shrews were killed, causing Yun Mu to fly into a rage. However, just 3 days ago, the woman who might be Dongli Qingqing and Lian Qingrong had directly entered the canyon in front of them. The canyon was too mysterious. Even Yun Mu did not dare to bring the cloud-devouring wolf shrew in. In the end, he could only return in rage. On the way back, the more the cloud shrew thought about it, the angrier it became. It had originally planned to gather all the cloud-swallowing wolves and shrews to wait outside the gorge for those people to come out. However, when it heard that the lady with the surname Su and the rest were nearby, the cloud shrew's anger had yet to subside and it wanted to kill the lady with the surname Su and the rest. However, in the end, it encountered Du Xiaofu. Under Yun Mu's lead, Du Xiaofu's group avoided many dangers along the way. They even avoided 2 places with ancient incomplete formations and obtained several precious herbs. Finally, they arrived before the ancient gorge before them. "Master, this is the Valley of the Dead Souls." They entered this place. Yun Mu looked at the misty canyon, and there was still some lingering fear on his face. He revealed 2 protruding rat-like teeth and said, "This is the most dangerous place in the forest. Living beings who enter have never come out. My mother and father entered 1,000 years ago and never came out. This is a dangerous place." Du Xiaofu looked into the gorge, his eyes suffused with golden light. Under the invisible oppressive aura that pervaded the air, it made people look like an ancient ferocious beast with its mouth wide open, waiting for them to walk in and swallow them in one gulp. Rumor has it that there are precious treasures inside and it contains a huge secret. Many other demonic beasts have come to fight for it, but they have never come out. Yun Mu continued. Her father and mother had died inside and never came out again. This caused her to be fearful of the place. She did not dare to chase after those people as they entered. "I have to go in. You can wait for me outside," Du Xiaofu said to the lady with the surname Su and took a deep breath. No matter what dangers there were in the gorge, Du Xiaofu had to go in. It was also because of the huge danger inside that Du Xiaofu was even more anxious to go in. "I'll go in with you." The lady with the surname Su hesitated for a moment before saying to Du Xiaofu. She bit her red lips that had regained some color and her eyes were filled with brilliant colors. She quickly followed to Du Xiaofu's side and said, "Actually, you don't have to worry. That lady is very strong. Although that descendant of the Great Snow Mountain has the upper hand, it will be difficult for him to do anything to her. I have to find her as soon as possible." Du Xiaofu was still not at ease and was very anxious. Lian Qingrong's cultivation was not ordinary. It was very terrifying. Du Xiaofu had fought with her before, so he was very clear about Lian Qingrong's strength. He was afraid that something would happen to Dongli Qingqing. "Miss, wait for me." Big Lan and Little Lan also followed. Naturally, they had to stay by Mrs.'s side. As for Yun Mu, she plucked up her courage. With the influence of the blood soul seal in her mind, she naturally chose to stay by Du Xiaofu's side. However, she was fully focused and careful along the way. Kacha. Kacha sounds came from the ground of the canyon. It was not the withered branches on the ground, but the withered bones that had lost their luster. These were the bones of some human and demonic beast experts. However, at this moment, they seemed to have been eroded by the wind and were like ordinary bones. They had also been here for a very long time and would break with a single step. How terrifying! Big Lan and Little Lan trembled in fear. There were white bones everywhere, and the sound of bones cracking could be heard from time to time, causing one's hair to stand on end involuntarily. "Be careful," suddenly, Du Xiaofu spoke. His figure stood in place, and his body was covered in golden light. Walala! Almost at the same time as Du Xiaofu's voice fell, a terrifying storm swept out from within the canyon. It was accompanied by the dazzling runes that were constantly flashing. It poured out like a torrent, accompanied by an aura that made people tremble. Its speed was as fast as lightning. This was the canyon. The terrifying and strange storm covered the entire canyon. There was no place to hide at all except for retreating. However, with the terrifying speed and the storm in front of them, Du Xiaofu had only just noticed it. How many people could escape in advance? The strange storm swept out, and Du Xiaofu was instantly swept up. It did not affect his physical body at all, but a terrifying power immediately surged into his primordial spirit. It could instantly make his primordial spirit tremble. It was as if countless poisonous needles had drilled into his primordial spirit. The destructive power was enough to instantly destroy the primordial spirit of an ordinary martial domain realm cultivator. Oh no, this storm contains a terrifying primordial spirit attack. Du Xiaofu's expression changed. He had been on guard for a long time. The void around him suddenly shone with a dazzling light. The illusory image of the dark nether grass took shape and enveloped the woman surnamed Su, Big Lan, Little Lan, and Yun Mu. This terrifying primordial spirit attack was extraordinarily terrifying, but it could not do anything to Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit. The spiritual lightning in his mind directly destroyed it. Walala! The terrifying storm swept past and disappeared without a trace. It disappeared without a trace, as if it had never happened. Du Xiaofu kept the dark nether grass. The eyes of Big Lan, Little Lan, and the others were still trembling. They had already felt the aura of death just a moment ago. Many thanks. The woman surnamed Su said. Under that terrifying primordial spirit attack, she was caught unprepared. She could not resist at all. Be careful. Du Xiaofu warned the woman surnamed Su and the others. The primordial spirit attack just now would have destroyed the primordial spirit of an ordinary martial domain realm cultivator. No wonder Yun Mu said that the creatures that entered the Dead Souls Canyon had never come out. It was truly terrifying. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Not long after, within the thick fog in the canyon, strange runes flickered. They condensed into strange blades that pierced through the void like thousands of arrows. They carried a destructive power that was enough to pierce through the body of a martial domain realm cultivator. Golden light erupted from Du Xiaofu's body as the phantom of a great rock's golden wings condensed behind him. It enveloped the woman surnamed Su, Big Lan, Little Lan, Yun Mu, and the others. A supreme demonic beast's aura swept out. Clang clang. The rune blades landed on the golden talisman engravings around Du Xiaofu's body. Golden spears burst forth and sparks flew, but in the end, they did not pierce through the golden light. They shattered into runes and dissipated. Many of the remaining rune blades landed on the towering trees and rocks in the canyon, but they were not damaged at all. It was very strange. Walala, then, not long after the five of them moved forward, a gust of wind blew over like a blade. Not only could it destroy the physical body, it could also destroy the primordial spirit. Du Xiaofu continued to protect everyone as they charged out of the terrifying gust of wind. So scary! Under the successive shocking dangers, Big Lan and Little Lan had already gasped. Their legs had become rather weak. Be careful. We still have protective talismans, but you don't. The woman surnamed Su looked at Du Xiaofu. Her brows shone brilliantly as she said, "You don't have to protect us at the crucial moment. With protective talismans, we won't die." I know. I'm fine. Du Xiaofu nodded. In the vast fog, he lowered his head to examine a rock to the side. There was a huge, deep hole in the huge rock. The ground around it was covered in spiderweb-like cracks. It's her. It can't be wrong. We fought here. Du Xiaofu could be completely sure. There was still some remnant energy in the huge hole and the surrounding cracks. It was the energy of the Dongli Qingqing demon subduing arrow. This was not the first time Du Xiaofu had seen Dongli Qingqing use the demon subduing arrow, so he was very familiar with it and could not be wrong. Master, there's something shining in front. It's filled with energy. It seems to be a treasure. Yun Mu suddenly spoke as she looked into the depths of the canyon. The canyon was already extremely wide, but it was still getting wider and wider. However, the thick fog was also getting thicker and thicker. At this moment, The fog was accompanied by a kind of dense energy that Yun Mu could absorb. The reason why the cloud-swallowing wolf shrews had always chosen to stay in this forest was because absorbing the fog was extremely beneficial to them. Let's go. Be careful. Follow me closely. Du Xiaofu's eyes flickered, and he immediately shot out. In the vast white fog, light shone brightly. It was the kind of rune that constantly flashed in this strange ancient forest. Du Xiaofu led the woman surnamed Su, Yun Mu, and the others as they cautiously approached. Under the increasingly dazzling rune light, they could see clearly that there was actually an ancient ruin within the thick white fog. In the depths of the canyon, there was a stretch of broken walls. The bright rune light came from within the broken walls. Chapter 1638. It's an ancient ruin. The woman surnamed Su observed the large amount of broken walls in front of her. As she got closer, she could see many broken ancient buildings. This ruin was not small. In this strange forest, there was a terrifying canyon hidden within. It was filled with danger and was extremely dangerous. At the end of the canyon, there was actually a hidden ancient ruin hidden in another world. Something's not right. Although Du Xiaofu was worried about Dongli Qingqing, he wasn't in a hurry to get closer. He looked at the ancient ruin in front of him and carefully observed it. So that's how it is. What a big deal. After a while, Du Xiaofu's eyes rippled and the corner of his mouth curled up slightly. After all, he had the heavenly spirit record and his attainments in formations weren't shallow. In addition to his pondering and investigation in the canyon, he finally understood the mysteries of this canyon. What did you find? The woman surnamed Su asked Du Xiaofu curiously. This place should be the remains of a powerful sect in the past. It's not large, but it might be an important place. Right now, in the ancient times, there must have been an intense battle here. The sect's formation was destroyed, but the remnants of the formation are still active. Some of the remnant formations in this ancient forest might be related to this place. The strange attacks in the canyon are also the result of the remnant formation. These remnant formations are getting weaker and weaker, but they must have been stronger in the past. Therefore, from ancient times until now, all the creatures that came in were attacked by the remnant formation. Very few survived. The reason why we could come in is probably because the remnant formation has been getting weaker and weaker recently. Du Xiaofu explored the surroundings and said to the woman surnamed Su. He had a rough understanding of this ruin. That's amazing. Xiao Lan and Dalan were now admiring the god of war in front of them more and more. Shall we go in? The woman surnamed Su asked Du Xiaofu. Let's go in. Everyone should be careful. Du Xiaofu didn't let down his guard. Then he walked into the ruins with the woman surnamed Su. On the ground, there were also eerie white bones everywhere. They were grayish-white, just like the white bones outside. They had lost their luster and looked just like white bones. Even in the ruins, the five of them had seen many huge skeletons of demonic beasts. Judging from the size of the skeletons, they must have been monstrously powerful demonic beasts when they were alive. This is my father and mother. They are both dead. Under a broken wall, Yun Mu saw two small skeletons. His heart was filled with grief and tears actually flowed down his cheeks. Judging from the posture of the two skeletons, they seemed to be hugging each other. This proved that before they died, the two of them had been tightly hugging each other. Even in death, they had died together. They were connected by blood, so Yun Mu could not be mistaken. That was her imperial father and the skeleton behind the scenes. The beast-controlling technique could make the cloud shrew submit, but it would not affect the cloud shrew's emotions and future cultivation. It would not turn the cloud shrew into a puppet. This was the outstanding aspect of the beast-controlling technique. My condolences. Du Xiaofu patted Yun Mu's shoulder and said. At this moment, his heart was also moved and ripples were surging. Then, the cloud shrew buried the skeletons of her imperial father and imperial mother deep underground. There is movement in front. The lady surnamed Su said to Du Xiaofu. Looking into the depths of the ruins, there were still clouds and mist, but the energy fluctuations were getting stronger. The light that they saw just now was flickering in front of them, spreading a shocking aura. From time to time, there were talisman runes flickering. Be careful. Du Xiaofu slowly approached. He felt that Dongli Qingqing should have also entered this place. He was worried and moved forward. Crossing a broken wall, Du Xiaofu raised his eyes and felt a familiar aura. In front of him was a vast expanse of white mist. As talisman runes flickered, many figures appeared. There were 8 graceful figures, and they were graceful and moving. Who is it? At this moment, the 8 graceful figures also felt Du Xiaofu's aura and immediately turned around. 8 charming women, each of them beautiful and unparalleled. Waves of shocking icy aura also spread out in an instant. It's you. After seeing Du Xiaofu clearly, the 8 women's faces suddenly changed. Their eyes were secretly filled with absolute horror. Previously, they had suffered a great loss in the hands of Du Xiaofu. They knew that guy was a supreme Nirvana realm expert and his strength was very terrifying. Du Xiaofu ignored the 8 women. They were the 8 maidservants by Lian Qingrong's side. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's eyes were fixed on the front. In a broken wall, there was a bright and dazzling light screen. It was shrouded in rolling mist and revealed talisman runes. It was filled with an extremely ancient aura, as if it was filled with a kind of fiend god qi. However, at this moment, Lian Qingrong and Dongli Qingqing were nowhere to be seen. Du Xiaofu's heart became heavier. Du Xiaofu's figure suddenly swept forward. He felt that there must be a strange change in the light screen. My young master is inside. Don't come near. Otherwise, we won't be polite. One of the 8 maidservants shouted. Although they were afraid of Du Xiaofu, they didn't shrink back at this moment. So Lian Qingrong is inside. Du Xiaofu frowned and directly swept forward without stopping. Back off. However, at the same time, the 8 maidservants formed a joint attack. The energy froze the void and a terrifying icy aura suddenly swept toward Du Xiaofu. You still dare to stop me? Du Xiaofu's mood wasn't very good at this moment. He shouted and a rolling purple flame suddenly swept out and turned into a huge purple flame demonic phoenix. Walala, in an instant, the purple flames were like a purple sun that blotted out the sky. Its might shook half of the void and carried with it a terrifying pressure of the world. It directly destroyed the cold qi and smashed into the 8 women like they were rotten wood. Puff, 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 puff. The 8 maidservants spat out blood and their delicate bodies were all sent flying. They fell heavily to the ground and broke many broken walls. They were in a sorry state. Their faces were pale and their eyes were filled with shock. What a powerful guy! Is he really the god of war? Xiao Lan and the others happened to see this scene and were shocked. When the 8 maidservants joined forces, they also trapped their young miss. However, at this moment, this guy just raised his hand and sent the 8 of them flying and seriously injured. Qila! Du Xiaofu's figure swept into the light screen and immediately suffered a huge recoil force that swept over him. It was as if he was going to be sent flying. At the same time, there was a strange life-devouring energy in the light screen that was going to devour his life force. So strange. The sudden change made Du Xiaofu immediately retreat. His expression changed slightly. Who dares to touch my people? Almost at the same time, a young man in a white battle robe rushed out of the light screen. His skin was like jade and his eyes were black and white. However, when the young man in white saw Du Xiaofu, his eyes suddenly twitched. He seemed to be a little surprised and said, "It's you. Lian Qingrong, you really don't want the successor of the Great Snow Mountain." Du Xiaofu looked at the young man in battle robe in front of him. Who else could it be but the successor of the Great Snow Mountain, Lian Qingrong? His eyes were cold and his expression was cold. It's that terrifying guy. Can the god of war still fight against him? Xiao Lan and De Lan saw Lian Qingrong and trembled secretly. Their faces turned pale. They had seen the battle between supreme martial artists. It was so terrifying that they still had lingering fears. As for Yun Mu, she originally wanted to find trouble with Lian Qingrong. Later, she found out how strong the human in front of her was. At this moment, she naturally did not dare to go up again. Lian Qingrong's eyes swept behind Du Xiaofu and saw Yun Mu, the woman surnamed Su, and the others. Her eyes suddenly moved and she seemed to be a little surprised. Then her thin red lips curved into a smile. She said with a smile, "I didn't expect you to send yourself to me again. You are really lucky." Hearing this, Xiao Lan and Dalan could not help but instinctively feel a little afraid and took a few steps back. "Where is the woman you are chasing?" Du Xiaofu asked Lian Qingrong in a deep voice. "That woman has an extraordinary background. She ran in, but she will come out sooner or later. There is no way to break in. It has been 3 or 4 days. She won't be able to hold on for much longer." Lian Qingrong raised her eyebrows, looked at Du Xiaofu and said, "There's no need to tell you about this. I've said it before. When we fight next time, I'll subdue you. Today is the time." Hearing Lian Qingrong's words, Du Xiaofu was secretly relieved. At least now Dongli Qingqing seemed to be fine. Lian Qingrong had chased her for several days, but she could not really do anything to Dongli Qingqing. "Young master." The 8 seriously injured maidservants climbed up and immediately stood behind Lian Qingrong. They looked at Du Xiaofu with more and more lingering fear. "Boy, you are provoking me." Seeing that her 8 maidservants were seriously injured and were all stained with blood, but he did not show any mercy to them at all, this made Lian Qingrong's face immediately become gloomy. "It is you who is provoking me." Du Xiaofu's eyes were cold. He had been angry for a long time. Knowing that Dongli Qingqing was fine for the time being, he could not bear it anymore. His figure directly rushed out, and his body burst out with golden light. The condensed rock's chaos claw tore the void and directly grabbed at Lian Qingrong. Rock descends to the 9th heaven. Domineering fist. Tying seal. Boom. Domineering fist. Du Xiaofu was fierce. Relying on his vigorous qi and powerful primordial spirit, he activated all kinds of methods at the same time. He opened and closed widely, and he was the only one in the world. Oh, in an instant, many phantoms of supreme beasts roared, and all kinds of terrible attack runes shone, shattering this side of the void, and the light shone brightly. Lian Qingrong was eyeing Su Muxin, and now she was thinking about Dongli Qingqing. They were all his women. Du Xiaofu was furious. He attacked like a storm without any mercy. Looking at Du Xiaofu's desperate attack, as if his wife had been snatched away, Lian Qingrong secretly changed color. She snorted and then quickly attacked one after another. Heavenly Ice Fist. Ice Prison. Soul Freezing Ice. Glacier 10,000 miles. Lian Qingrong's battle robe was covered by snow-like runes. She attacked like lightning, freezing the surrounding void. She was like the Snow Mountain War Emperor, and the sky was full of dazzling runes. Chapter 1639. The battle between the two of them instantly became intense, razing the surrounding area to the ground. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked, and the void exploded one after another. "Take my palm." Du Xiaofu shouted. The Xiaoyang seal, the Taiyin seal, and the Shaoyin seal overlapped and condensed into a hand seal. It appeared gold, black, and silver, and was crystal clear. A wave that made people's heart palpitate spread out. It contained a terrifying destructive power, and it was as fast as lightning, slapping towards Lian Qingrong. Void Ice Technique. Lian Qingrong's cold ice energy froze the world, exploded the void, and made the world boil, freezing thousands of miles. Rumble. In this battle, the runes were dazzling, and it was as if the world was falling apart. The surrounding ruins were trembling, and the earth was shaking. The broken walls and ruins were cracking and collapsing, revealing a large area of cracks on the ground. "It's too terrifying." Looking at this battle, the woman surnamed Su, Yunmu, and Xiao Lan retreated to the distance, and they were secretly trembling. Dang dang. In the air, Du Xiaofu and Lian Qingrong were both shocked by the shocking energy, and the space behind them exploded and shattered. How could he be so much stronger? When Lian Qingrong stabilized her body, her hair fluttered behind her back. She looked at Du Xiaofu with surprise in her eyes. Lian Qingrong felt that in just a few months, the strength of the young man in front of her had improved by leaps and bounds. It was not just a little bit stronger than before, which made her feel inconceivable. Lien Qingrong naturally did not know that in these few months, Du Xiaofu had been comprehending the life-saving talisman, and his comprehension of various ultimates had improved by leaps and bounds. He had taken another big step towards the true self level, and his strength had also improved by leaps and bounds. But you're still not enough. One Nirvana level. Although you're a Nirvana level Grand Supreme, your cultivation level is an insurmountable moat. Lien Qingrong said. There was an indescribable majesty and transcendence, and she was also very confident. What? Nirvana of a grand sovereign? Hearing Lien Qingrong's words, Xiao Lan and Dalan were very suspicious. They were feeling strange. From the conversation between the two of them, it seemed that the two of them had fought before. And now, the nirvana of a grand utmost exalted surprised them. Du Xiaofu looked at Lien Qingrong, and a smile that made one's heart tremble suddenly appeared in his cold eyes. He said, "Since you are so confident, then let me give you an appetizer first." As the sound of his voice faded, ancient runes gushed out from Du Xiaofu's body, instantly transforming into 8 resplendent and dazzling runes. After that, they faintly transformed into 64 ancient runes that flickered as a strange aura permeated the air, causing the space of the divine domain to tremble. Voila! Then, the ancient runes seeped out of the void all around. It was as if they had turned into a rain of light that seeped into everything. Lien Qingrong's defense was unable to stop them. A rain of light fell between Lien Qingrong's eyebrows. Then, the life-saving amulet between Lien Qingrong's eyebrows directly cracked, then dimmed and disappeared. The 8 beautiful maidservants who followed Lien Qingrong also did not escape this calamity. The life-saving amulet between their eyebrows disappeared. They looked at each other in horror. In this space of the divine domain, losing the life-saving amulet was absolutely equivalent to losing one's life. There would not be a second chance. That kind of feeling made those who had really lost their life-saving amulet feel nervous. In this space of the divine domain, they had lost their most important support. My God, what's going on? Seeing that Du Xiaofu had actually made Lien Qingrong and the other life-saving amulets disappear, Xiao Lan and Dalan were already dumbfounded. The woman surnamed Su was also trembling violently. This was really incredible. At this moment, not to mention the woman surnamed Su, Lien Qingrong was also shocked. He felt that the life-saving amulet between his eyebrows had disappeared. It was destroyed by Du Xiaofu, which was equivalent to killing him directly. How do you feel? Du Xiaofu said to Lien Qingrong with a smile that was not a smile. Boy, you finally completely infuriated me. You'll pay for everything you've done later. Lien Qingrong finally changed his expression. His expression was ice-cold. At the same time, with his body as the center, dazzling white ice runes erupted. Boom! In an instant, Lien Qingrong's body was densely covered with dazzling runes. These runes were sparkling and translucent like ice. When they covered Lien Qingrong's body, it was like covering in ice armor. This was Lien Qingrong's pulse soul. In the level of pulse soul, it had reached the level of a half-step supreme being. Crash! In an instant, frost fell from the sky like falling glaciers. Everywhere was white and fluctuating in the void. Under the terrifying cold air, the woman surnamed Su, Dalan, Xiaolan, and Yun Mu in the distance were already trembling from the cold. The blood in their bodies was about to freeze, their qi was about to solidify, and the cold air could even freeze and crack the primordial spirit. Competing with pulse souls? I'll keep you company. Du Xiaofu was not afraid. At the same time, he directly activated the Thunder Martial Vein. The purple-gold lightning runes covered his body. Suddenly, the surrounding void was like waves of lightning, surging violently and dazzling the world. It directly destroyed a large area of cold air. Rumble. The thunderclouds in the sky suddenly rolled, and a supreme being's pressure descended. The surrounding purple-gold lightning clustered around Du Xiaofu, like a dazzling thunder sun in the sky, killing in all directions. Continue! Du Xiaofu shouted, and the Thunder Martial Vein was activated. At the same time, the shadow of the rock's golden wings condensed behind his back. The rock soared to the 9 heavens, like the god of war, and his figure swept out. This side of the ruins was trembling, and the universe was roaring. With the sky full of purple-gold lightning, he directly pressed towards Lien Qingrong. What kind of martial vein is this? How can it be so strong? Lien Qingrong's heart was trembling. At this moment, even with her cultivation and talent, under the strange thunder martial vein, she was secretly trembling, as if she was facing a real pulse soul supreme. However, she was only surprised in her heart, and immediately made her move. Lien Qingrong was not a weakling. In the entire divine domain, there were only a few people who could be compared with her at this moment. Suddenly, a terrifying cold air erupted, turning the surroundings into glaciers. Countless icebergs descended, and countless icicles pierced through the void, as if this side of the world had turned into a world of ice. Du Xiaofu made his move, and the purple lightning illuminated the world, destroying everything. Under the support of the rock descending to the 9 heavens, Du Xiaofu was like a human-shaped rock, flapping his wings and sweeping, overbearing and fierce, as if he was the only one in the world. Rumble! The two people in the void fought fiercely, and it was like thunder in the sky, bursting out a series of rune light. Walala! The rune energy shot out, and it was as gorgeous as fireworks, causing the entire sky to be dazzling. Behind that dazzling light, there was a shocking pressure that could freeze thousands of miles and kill everything. It was like destruction, and the surrounding void collapsed one after another. Lien Qingrong was more and more shocked. Last time, she felt that Du Xiaofu was not this strong and was much weaker. At this moment, she actually had a feeling that it was difficult to suppress. And the other party was only at the nirvana level, which made Lien Qingrong very shocked. Ao! Finally, Lien Qingrong used her own pulse soul. Dazzling light swept out, and finally turned into a huge ice dragon that spanned thousands of feet in the void. This ice dragon had not been muddled, and it had already turned into a true spirit, which was equivalent to a living creature. The dragon's roar was like a wave of air, and it was vast and undulating like a tsunami. It carried a terrifying cold energy that swept out, as if it was covering the sky and earth, like a raging wave beating the shore, crossing the vast sky. Everywhere it passed, the void was frozen, and it turned into a glacier. Ancient Ice Dragon Pulse Soul. The woman surnamed Su could not help but exclaim. Even though she had seen the great Snow Mountain's successor use this terrifying pulse soul in the battle with the fairy goddess, she still could not help but tremble. The ancient ice dragon was rumored to be a true pure-blooded dragon. When it was angry, it could freeze everything. Among the dragon's bloodlines, its bloodline was only inferior to a few dragons' bloodlines, and it had an extremely honorable status among dragons. It could be said that with the ancient ice dragon as the pulse soul, it would definitely not be inferior to an ordinary pulse soul. However, it was rare to be able to obtain such a pulse soul. Rumble! A silver-yellow electric arc shot out from between Du Xiaofu's eyebrows, and a majestic supreme being aura filled the entire ruins. It transformed into a huge red-bone horse ape, and a silver-gold electric arc shot up into the sky like a rising sun. When the red-bone horse ape appeared, the dragon eyes of the huge ancient ice dragon were trembling. The red-bone horse ape appeared. It was Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit, and also Du Xiaofu's pulse soul. When the two merged into one, its power was even more terrifying, and it directly pounced towards the ancient ice dragon. 3 types of spiritual lightning, the sovereign spiritual root, and the mysterious incomplete cultivation technique. With all of these combined into one, the red-bone horse ape could completely suppress the ancient ice dragon. Bang bing bing! The red-bone horse ape waved its fist, and a terrifying aura spread out in a ring shape. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled, and everywhere it passed, the space would suddenly shatter. Red-bone horse ape pulse soul. Lien Qingrong's gaze trembled. He had only heard of the red-bone horse ape in legends, but he did not expect the kid in front of him to have a pulse soul. At this moment, the terrifying aura in the red-bone horse ape's body was very complicated, but its power was like that of a real sovereign, causing his pulse soul to tremble for no reason. Boom! The expression on Lien Qingrong's handsome face finally condensed together. At the same time, divine light flickered on his body like flames, condensing into 6 divine rings above his forehead, and a vast aura spread out. This was the power of a sovereign. A nirvana sovereign. Xiao Lan and De Lan trembled once again. Lien Qingrong had already used his full strength. This was the power of a sovereign, and they had witnessed the strength of the war god. But at this moment, under the power of a sovereign, they couldn't help but be on edge for the latter once again. It's just a lesser sovereign's nirvana. Du Xiaofu no longer concealed his strength. At this moment, in front of Lien Qingrong, there was no way for him to hide anything. Everything was done with his full strength. In an instant, 9 divine rings condensed, causing the surrounding space to rumble and the world to tremble, causing all living beings to tremble in fear. Oh my God, 9 rings, he is... De Lan and Xiao Lan were dumbfounded, and they couldn't retract their jaws from the shock. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.